Hello, Advixen. I see you are first. All right. Oops. Wow. Yeah, I'm glad nobody can see Odin. Like, oh, hey, I've still got the chat window from last week's up, or 2 weeks ago up. There we go. There we go. Yeah, one of these over here. One of these over here. Talking away because I know the microphone's on. Oh, the dogs come out to visit. For all the wrong reasons, spring cut packs. And Stupid Monkey is here. And so is Shop Grumman. Hello, I'm hoping I've got audio, hoping I've got video. Good morning, and how are you doing? I'm still asleep. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay. Never as funny as I think it will be in my head. Actually, it's never that funny in my head. Hi, how's everyone doing? Good morning. My name's Odin. Welcome to the Sunday Odin Makes live stream. Today I'm going to be applying more creaturecast to the Proton Packs because I never got around to doing that over the last 2 weeks. Yay, video. Okay, good. Stupid Monkey says yay, video. Is there audio? It looks to me like audio should be going out. I've got bars. So bars meaning the graphical bars showing that there's audio going out. I'm even peeking into the red, so I should have audio going out. Okay, see you in 2 weeks. Bye. Bye, Dan. Thanks for coming by. All right, good. You heard me. So, first admission, failed to let Felicia know that I was going to be live streaming today until it got to be really too late last night. So, never contacted her at all. She's not here because I didn't contact her. So, all good. I hope she's doing well. And in 2 weeks, actually, I do plan on being back again in 2 weeks. It's going to be what? The 5th? 6th? Yeah, 6th. And anyway, yeah, good to be back. And hopefully by then I'll actually, manage to contact Felicia and have her come by. So what's happening today, Odin? Well, today I think I'm going to do two things. I'm going to attach this light to this light stand because I wanted to do that for a long time and haven't bothered. And I'm looking at it and realizing I'm going to need a bigger washer. We're going to need a bigger boat. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply some creaturecast, a second coat of creaturecast to all the Proton Pack parts that I've recently done. Bit of apple bouncing around the tip of my tongue. I'm going to re-creaturecast all the Proton Pack parts that I've already done because they need a second coat. Had done that at the end of the live stream last time. There we are. And it worked out fine, actually. Doing it with sponge painting worked out just fine. But what didn't work out too well was hitting the right camera. What didn't work out too well was having crap in the way. What didn't work out too well was having it as one coat. There's a lot of... is that even in focus? There's a lot of... yeah, it needs a second coat. There's places where the sponge painting just wasn't as solid as I wanted it to be. But second coat's going to be okay, I think. And even though it's a little... Man, where's my focus plane on this? There it is. Even though it's a little splotchy, not too worried. Splotchy, okay, so splotchy could be two things. Splotchy is going to be the density of the color as well as, the light spots, lights and dark. But I'm sort of misusing it also to be the fact that it's got this texture to it, which is kind of okay. That's what I was after. To some extent, there's bits of... He's over here in the corner. I've got a cryptid looking for a little tiny dog. Little tiny dog's over here in this corner. Hoping that he's behaving and not decorating the corner of the shop. Sorry, I'm not on camera. Anyway, what is this stuff? This is the cause of all the foaming. When I shook up the creaturecast, it foamed up, and then I put it on the plate, and it actually had lots of foaming bubble action, right? And I think this is the dried foaming that is still reminiscent on the pieces. So that is an issue for doing this as a sponge painting. But this finer texture that's everywhere, I'm really trying to look only on the camera because that's where the light's hitting it. There's this finer, you know, less than truck bed texture that's on most of it. That was something I was kind of after. I didn't want this to be perfectly smooth. So I think we've had more than enough close-up of that crap. Pretty happy with it. It's just going to take 2 coats to do it. That's okay. I've still got 4 gallons of this stuff. All right. As I look at this, I realize... What's this other thing you got in the desk and you're obsessing over? Well, it's been sitting out here for a little bit. This is a UV light that Shaq, Gremlin, and I were using to set up emulsion fluid for making silk screens. We've been playing with making silk screens behind the scenes. Actually got some Odin Makes t-shirts with cosplay repair in the back made up that are working. So all of my cosplay repair people who are helping out are going to be able to get a shirt at the next SAC Anime. SAC Con is happening right now, by the way, but you know, I'm not there. So this light is a UV light. We played with it a lot during the, you know, all of you guys here on Patreon got to see it. We played with it a lot during the Christmas mess around, where we would bring out stuff that would fluoresce. Do I have anything here that's obviously going to fluoresce? You know, the tape probably will. There. Whole new way to make radioactive. Look at that. I got, oh, that's great. I got grease in the lens. Look at that glare. Look at that bloom. Oh, that's awesome. That's not at all what I want. Let's cut to a different camera. Maybe cut to a different camera. But anyway, it's just a super bright UV light. It's designed for the emulsion fluid to set up for doing silk screening. Or anything else you really want to play around with, you know, UV light, which I just get a huge kick out of how much it messes with the camera, you know? That just makes me really happy. And then there's the lovely splotchiness that is human skin under UV light. Yeah, I'm healthy, really. No, I'm okay. So, yeah. But to my eyes, this actually fluoresces really well. Camera, it just blows out and you can't see it. Sorry. Camera's also doing its best to color correct for it. But here I get a really good purple that's coming from the light that's being caught in the translucent wheels. And the shell itself actually fluoresces really, really well. So, and kids, this is a great way to bleach out your comic books. Tired of your comic books having all the vivid color that they originally came with when they are newsprinted? Just set those things out under a UV light and you can get rid of all that annoying red color pigment like that. It's great. It's not great at all. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Good on both. Great. Thank you. Will Connors is here. Hello, Will Connors. Thank you very much. Will Connors sent a little wish you'd be doing well, you know, sending good thoughts, whatever else, but actually bothered to send a card, which was really cool. So Will, card received. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. That's awesome. I'm old school enough that I appreciate the card. And thank you. So that's very cool. Okay, yep, there we are. Also audio good. You got bars, Odin? Let's hear them. I got bars. Well, I was thinking alcoholic bars, but what are you thinking? Music bars? Because you make music. This is Dan Does Junk. Shady says he's here. Welcome, Shady. Odin shining his glory upon us. I was up all night looking at the live stream when Joe and Odin were working on the VHS. Yep. Shady's very happy and excited to have the VHS. I've still got them over here in their cases. Very excited to have those VHSs, which is pretty cool. So anyway, this UV light is really neat. It's been a lot of fun for me. But the oversized tablet phone handler thing that it came with, I just don't trust, because I don't want this thing with a sharp corner to fall onto the silk screen, because that would put a hole in the screen, and that would be a major problem, because it goes from being a useful silk screen to basically garbage. So what I wanted to do was, oh yeah, this is way easier said than done. How much of this do I have to disassemble to make it work? I'll keep that part. Unplug it from the wall. It might be easier to work with. Okay. Gonna need a screwdriver. Gonna need a long enough screwdriver. You know what I don't have over here? Because I took everything with me to LA last time I went to LA. It just so happens I have a few hand tools kept in my Ryobi tool bag. What kind of hand tools do you have in your Ryobi tool bag, Odin? Well, let's see. What have I got? I've got a Ryobi screwdriver. Well, that's exactly what I'm after. What else do I have? I've got a Ryobi multi-tool and about 4 more Ryobi screwdrivers and then a few things that don't say Ryobi. So, that's not going to fit. Yeah, that's not going to reach. All right, how's this going to work, Odin? I need a longer neck screwdriver than that. Longer. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow, those still aren't big enough. Wow, all right. Maybe I'm not doing this. The, have you tried zip ties? Odin, you can always zip tie it. What if you didn't use a screwdriver, Odin? What if you zip tied it? Well, you know, that would probably work just fine. Let me just put all the stuff back away now that I've wasted everyone's time, because everyone hates watching me do stupid crap on the live stream. Well, tried to do it using fasteners. Is this going to fit through? Yeah, barely. Okay. Motorcycle says of room. What else have you been working on this week, Odin? Well, let's see. What else have I been working on the last couple of weeks? I'm still very slowly digging my way through the VHS build video. For whatever reason, it has been really hard for me to get into the writing aspect of that video. And honestly, I don't think it's the video. It's just really hard for me to get into the writing aspect of it. I sit down to try and do it, and very quickly my brain finds every reason for why I need to be doing something else. And it actually spends more time trying to figure out what else it can do than just getting into it and doing it, which is, you know, what I really need to do. So that video is still trying to get done. Come on. Watch me regret, you know, making this thing well attached in short order. That would be just me, wouldn't it? So I've been working on it, and one of my plans for today is after the live stream, after the post live stream crash of taking a little me time, basically sleeping on the couch. I want to get back out here and I want to record what I have gotten written so I can start to get it actually edited, because at this point, mentally, I've lost what my script was, right? So writing a story, been doing it for the better part of a month, and I've lost my place. And it's even hard for me to go back and reread what I've done. Like, my brain has no interest in it to the point of that. So I thought, okay, if I come out here and I just read it, and then I can work with the audio, and I can just start building the video, then maybe I can finish writing the script once I see what I've got. Why is it being so hard? I don't know. Maybe because it was... when I started the project, the intent wasn't to make a video out of it. And so a good hunk of the beginning of it wasn't formatted in a way that I'm used to. It's also probably just because, I've gone to where that's now my day job, and I have a really, it becomes a bit harder. Well, I went and made that crooked. Does it matter? It doesn't matter, but it matters enough. So I go from editing and working on stories and things, pretty much all day. And the last thing I want to do at night is jump back on the exact same program and listen to myself, which makes it really hard. Other than that, let's see, what else have I been playing with? Been still trying to work on the giant Legos, the ones I got excited about. Mention Legos! Yeah. And did a lot of travel this past month for my work job. I've been up and down the state 2 or 3 times, and almost was going to go 2 more times, both of which seems like they've been canceled, which is good. Was going to go to for a few days there. I was going to go to NAB, and that was exciting. What is NAB? NAB is the National Association of Broadcasters Convention that happens in Las Vegas the first full week of April every year. SAC Anime is September. But after everyone said yes, finally somebody realized that Las Vegas is in Nevada, not in California. I said that up front multiple times, and it became this, oh no, wait, that takes 60 days or so to approve out-of-state travel. You can't go. That's fine. I didn't expect to go to begin with, right? So I got excited when it was yes for like 3 days. I think I got 3 days of excitement out of that. And so not a big deal that I don't get to go, because that was the answer I expected to begin with. Come on, just rotate. There we go. So that was the answer that I was expecting. So whatever, you don't get to go. Why would it be fun to go to NAB? NAB is the big technology convention for video gear. It's it used to be, when it was only for TV, the television broadcast stuff, right? National Association, but now it's just all things video, all things streaming, anything that involves a video image, that all just kind of falls under NAB. For a while, they were trying to keep it separate. There was like Comdex, which was mostly computers, but it had a lot of the video aspect of computers on that, because, oh, that's computers, that's not broadcast. Yeah, well, broadcast, it doesn't matter anymore. It's all that now. So, yeah, it would have been a lot of fun. Got to see new stuff from different people that I like, different companies that I like, and whatnot. But oh well, I get to stay home and not spend money eating out. That's good. That's a really good thing. So I'm not upset. Managed to capture. There we go. Alrighty, that was exciting. Okay, now I would feel way more secure about having this hang over the silk screen, because the light isn't going to fall off the clamp. The whole thing will fall over. That's a different problem. But at least the light won't fall off the clamp. Thank you. All right. Appreciate everyone tuning in today. Odin lamps. And yeah, anyway, still not a funny joke. My vote is both. Oh, okay. My debate is working on a Stormtrooper armor or starting a Fallout display. Yes, Fallout Stormtrooper would actually be kind of cool. Watching some so-called old vids, and the only difference is hairstyles. Well, thank you, Ad Vixen. I assume you're talking about my old vids, and yeah, if you actually go back and look old enough, far enough back, I was a little bit thinner way back about 10 years ago, and of course less gray. Yeah, thanks. Trying. Consistency is one of the things that I really wanted to have, and that was a goal with the channel, and that's why I've worn the black polos forever. Yeah. So where are we at? What are we doing? We're just going to start playing with Proton Packs because I got nothing. I'm 10 minutes into the stream, and I don't know what I'm doing. This is great. Compelling video entertainment. One thing I can do, though, is turn the heater off because that's a little warm. Oh, there we are. Okay. I have the heater set up to help stuff dry because California cold still isn't as cold as everyone else who actually has like freezing temperatures, but California cold is cold enough to prevent things from drying when you need them to. So go ahead and increase the temperature out here to make that a little bit better. I forgot to bring gloves out here. Okay. Steve D says, evening all, sorry I'm late, but I forgot about your clock's changing again. Hey Steve, not a problem. In fact, my clock up there on the wall still has the old time because I need a ladder to get it down. I haven't bothered to do that. So yeah, right there with you. All good. Not a problem. I appreciate everyone who still tunes in. Actually, I really seriously do. Have I worked on anything else? God, I feel like I worked on other stuff. Didn't I get anything else accomplished? I think everything else has been like work related, then day job related. Nothing exciting. Yeah. Okay, can you just not get enough Odin? Is there just not enough Odin video in your life? Do you need to listen to Odin rattle on for 10 minutes about chainsaw safety for arborists working in trees? Give me a minute. Let me post a link here in the description of this live stream where you can go and hear me talk about rules for people who work in trees, arborist rules. It's compelling. This is a video that I got to work on for 4 months, I think it was, for my day job, because it took that long to get everything approved and then reapproved and rearranged. And what's going to happen next week? Starting tomorrow, I get to work on the Spanish version, which I don't speak Spanish. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to YouTube and we're going to open up an incognito window so I'm not logged in as me, as Odin Makes, and then I want to go to DIR YouTube California. 3,000 followers. Wow, so many great things. Oh, did I fail to upload the... Yeah, looks like I failed to upload the thumbnail. Ha! Okay, whatever. Copy the link. Really? Yeah, that's it. All right. Now we're going to go back to where's... There it is. And... Nope. There you go. Let me go ahead and put that into Discord as well for all of you. Last week / months. This is how Odin works on the internet. There we are. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Apparently I failed to upload the thumbnail, and I really thought I did. glad I did a check live. Thing's been up for a while. All right. No, I didn't shoot it. This is a video that worked in conjunction with another group of people out of LA called Enlightened Pictures. Some very professional and talented individuals who had the contract for making videos prior to my becoming a full-time employee. Them leaving was nothing on their end. It wasn't their fault. Contract just ended, and the department had opted to hire somebody instead of renewing the contract. A little bit of political speak there for the fun of it, just to let you know that it wasn't that Enlightened Pictures did anything wrong, the people who shot the thing, right? So, anyway. We'll spend the next however long sponge painting all these parts, hopefully remembering anything else of interest to actually talk about, and probably putting a hairdryer on them so I can do something else with them. So I might, instead of just dabbing sponge painting this time, I think I'm going to see if I can't just smear it instead, with the hopes that it's not going to make more dried foam on the top of the more dried foam on the top, on the second layer of neoprene that I'm putting on here. I want to make sure I'm not, I dabbed it the first time, which caused a lot of mountains of foam, which didn't pop and go away. They instead just dried in place. This time I'm trying to spread it on with a sweeping motion of the brush and of the sponge, brush, whatever, instead, with the hopes that that mountain of sea foam that comes from doing that doesn't follow through. I've said everything twice now. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense to anybody outside of my head. I got over here. Not enough Odin? Here's a link. It's perfect for YouTube short. Oddly enough, I was thinking the same thing. Even though it wouldn't get my channel any views. That video's currently got 32. If every one of you just watched it for 1 minute, it would double the view count in a day. Whatever. It's a government job making government videos. So, whatever. I think there's 2 videos on there that I've narrated now. That one and the how to file a complaint video, I think, are both videos that they asked me to narrate. So, all right, sure, that's what you want. I don't care. I can do that. I've done that plenty of times. How are you doing? Well, you're already looking pretty black. That's kind of cool. Meaning that when it goes on kind of gray, right? So this one is freshly wet. This one's mostly dry. And so you can see that as it dries, you know, it's still wet, but as it dries, the milkiness goes away out of the creaturecast, right? It's just whatever. Latex does the exact same thing, and this was built to be a latex substitute or a latex replacement, and it's doing the job perfectly. So what I want to do is just grab my hairdryer, because I found my hairdryer. Cool. Now, very specifically, I do have this set on, where is it? On cool, like it's not on warm or hot, because I don't want to cook the neoprene. I just want to have moving air going over it to help it dry faster. I could do the exact same thing by setting it in front of a box fan or any other room fan. That would help the same thing, because moving air is one of the best things to dry out a water-based paint or other material. It just speeds it up in a fantastic way. Moving air will also help with like spray paint and enamels as well, but it is exceptional with any sort of a water-based material. So once you go to these panels, okay, and so once you go to these panels, what are you going to do for the main part of the stream? That is a fantastic question. And those are the last two comments, literally. Oh. Right. I have zero idea, to be honest. I'm going to coat these panels. I'm going to coat the panels around the backpack, and then I think my plan was to try and find some of the greebles and maybe start actually super gluing the greebles on, which will require a lot of digging into source material and hopefully some help from some of my friends. That was what I was thinking about, you know, because that's really all I've got going on right now as far as what I'm prepared for. Yeah. Okay, so I was doing my best to not complain about the lumpiness caused by the foaming. I'm not as excited about it now that it's a more uniform color. I'm going to put a third coat on because that went on really smooth, really thin. But yeah, that's not the texture I wanted, but that's the texture I got. Watching paint dry. Question did come up on Discord. One that Shady actually asked was, you know, April 1st is coming around the corner. Do you have a plan? Yeah, I do. I might have talked about that during the last stream. I don't think I did, but I do. I just need to get that shot, and it actually requires an additional person, or at least I feel like it does, for it to have the right look. So I'm going to have to contact. I think I want to go ahead and have Joe Gillis do it just for nostalgia. See if he's available to come by, and hopefully we can get that shot this week, because this week is a week it needs to get done. So at this point, am I going to have a build video out before New Year's, before I have a thought in my head? I may not. My build video may not get done before I have an April Fool's video, which is bothersome. I'd rather that wasn't the case. Now, I'm kind of wondering, do I have a piece of foam somewhere, something I don't care about, that I can just hand paint with creaturecast to see how well creaturecast just takes to EVA, whatever EVA foam, right? That would actually be something worth doing, because I haven't done that before. Hi, Bean. Nothing more compelling than watching paint dry. Wow. All right. I'm laughing away at content that comments here. What's going on? What are you laughing about, Odin? So we never saw the last person again after you threw him off the roof. So a couple of April Fools ago, I made the Soul Stone, and in order to do so, I chucked Joe Grasso off the roof, and yeah, he hasn't been on the channel since. That wasn't exactly the plan, but it sure worked out that way. Wasn't planning on throwing anybody off the roof this time. Not going to throw Joe Gillis off the roof. Right? So did I come up with a workshop idea for the Game Expo on the 5th? This is a great plan for... Great question from Dan Does Junk. Yeah. In fact, I need to order some parts for that, because I got something that's going to take like a week to show up. And I'm probably going to want to double check with some friends who do more LARPing to make sure that I'm not spreading false information. I'm still going to make a sword, because that just seems like the easiest thing to do, right? If I'm going to do a workshop with people at a video game expo, and you want to make something that nobody's going to get in trouble with for having when they walk out of the video game expo, why not make a sword? You know, because you want to make a weapon. You want to make something that's kind of fun, maybe something that's kind of iconic. And then also you need to make something that's kind of simple, that can be done in an hour to an hour and a half. And so instead of a lightsaber this year, I think I'm going to go ahead and make the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda. But I want to make a Boffer style Master Sword. And I want to do it more in the Amp Guard style, where instead of wrapping the entire blade with duct tape, because that became the single longest point of the workshop last time. That was one of the things that I know, even for me, it took a little while to get through, but since I was doing it, it didn't feel like it took as long as it did. And once we got into the workshop with people who had not played with duct tape before, it took even longer, and that ate up a ton of time. So instead, I still want to use a PVC pipe. I still want to use a bit of the pipe insulation foam that goes over PVC pipe, but in the Amp Guard style way. I then want to add a couple of layers of project foam, of like the foam I've got here, the sponge foam on the outside of it, to give it a little more, cush, and also that gives it a cutting edge. It's important with any sort of practice bladed weapon that you get the idea of there's only one side or two sides to the sword that actually cuts, and you want to hit with that cutting edge, because if you slap with your sword, one, you're not going to hurt the other person very much, and two, you could bend your sword. Hopefully you won't. Swords are supposed to be better than that, but possibilities. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Still going to do duct tape for the crossguard, the grip, and the pommel, which thankfully is all pretty much one color. So probably just go ahead and just to keep it a little more interesting, I think I'll make the actual grip black. So the pommel and the cross guard will be blue duct tape, and then the grip will probably just be black duct tape. You know, or I really don't want to go out and buy anything, because you could go out and get the sports tape, hockey stick tape, that type of stuff. The stuff you for grip tape. You could, you know, realistically, you probably should do that, but I don't know if I want to spend the money on that. I suppose I could, because that it is supposedly going to be reimbursed. So okay, this might be worth it. Then it's one type of duct tape, one type of grip tape, and then a gray athletic tube sock pulled over a length of PVC pipe that has PVC insulation and a couple of strips of project foam attached to them. Now, here's the fun thing I've been sort of playing with, trying to figure out how I want to go about doing this. And I think hot glue is going to be my answer, because I don't have anything else that is generally safe for the public. That project foam has to be adhered to the PVC insulation foam that is over the PVC pipe. And so to do that, normally you use contact cement. And I'm really trying to not use contact cement, because we're going to be in an enclosed room with a lot of people who are going to be way more sensitive to chemical smells than I am, because they haven't burned away half their brain like I have. And as well as minors, is trying to do it in a way that minors can kids can, not people who dig rocks out of the ground, can also participate. And so I didn't want to have things like blades. You know, I don't want to take a bunch of knives to a public event, because knives, don't want to trust Americans with knives. So I was considering pre-cutting all the bits and pieces. Last time I didn't. This time I'm going to pre-cut everything to help speed it up. And I think, yeah, we'll just go ahead and use the things for me is either hot glue, which still has the burning, blistering possibility, or double stick tape. And honestly, there's nothing really wrong with double stick tape, and that's probably potentially a faster and safer, maybe. But there becomes this issue of, how do you present to a novice how to take a round object of the, maybe this is part of the workshop, right? You take the round object of what the is going to end up being the PVC pipe insulation, and then you're going to double stick tape a strip of floppy project foam around the outside of it. And as I talk my way through it, I think I want to use one strip of that project foam, not two, because that's just twice the tape and twice the headache. So if we do it just once with a thicker bit of foam, that'll probably work a lot better. So that's the direction I want to go with that. I think I've got some here that isn't something earmarked for Shop Gremlin's use. And I wonder if I can't use other foams I've got. It just needs to be, it needs to have a flat edge that's got a little more soft give to it than just the insulation foam. As well as using the athletic socks or using a jersey knit. A lot of amp guard people actually sew their own covers. So using that fabric cover also makes it a softer impact weapon than the duct tape. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a real basic, you know, call it the Master Sword. It's going to take a leap of faith to see it. But yeah. And why am I not doing it for the live stream? I wasn't prepared. I didn't order the socks. That's the main thing. Dan Does Junk says wrapping duct tape sticky side out for the grip will work very well. Yes, it will. Not what I want to do. I think I want to go ahead and get some grip tape from Sporting Goods. And we're going to go public. Done. And we're going to add this to the Ghostbusters playlist and the live streams playlist. Done and save. Alrighty. Changes saved. Officially open to the public. Come on, get out of the way. There we are. Okay, just curious how many people we had watching. And Vixen reminding me it's 3 p.m. Eastern time. Did someone say roof and again? doggos. Oftentimes I understand what Shady's commenting, but I've rambled on long enough. Oh, they're shoving more people off a roof. All right, that was it. Yeah, oftentimes I'm able to keep up with what's going on, but I lost it there. That is okay. Oh, here we go. 28. It was 7. Right on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the public portion of the Odin Makes Sunday live stream. Hello, my name is Odin. I did not contact Felicia to let her know that I was streaming today. I forgot to do that until it was way too late last night. So she's not here because I didn't tell her. Not that she has to show up because I told her so. It's more along the lines of, out of a courtesy, I let her know that I'm going to stream so she doesn't show up and I'm not there. Yeah, that's happened. So Felicia's not here because I didn't contact her. All good. Hope she's having a good day. In 2 weeks is going to be the Video Game Expo in Rancho Cordova. I actually need to talk to the person who's in charge of that as well later today. The last time I talked to her, I was still going to be there at that convention, which is going to be April 5th in Rancho Cordova, California. Dan Does Junk should be there, and hopefully Felicia's going to be able to be there. We'll all have booths again. They were asking me about what type of a workshop I want to do this year, because last year at that convention I did a lightsaber workshop with making a boffer-style lightsaber out of PVC pipe and insulation foam and duct tape. But this year, instead of it being Star Wars themed, they moved it ahead a month, and they're making it generic, which is a really harsh word to use there, but it is a video game theme. It is a video game expo because the person who puts it on is a coach for an esports team. So this is what she does, and because of it is able to get some grants and things from the city in order to help fund the con actually happening, because it becomes youth oriented. It becomes esports, which I guess fits well enough for, she wrote good enough for how it made it work. Anyway, good for her for figuring out how to get funds to make the con work that isn't coming out of her pocket completely in order to do this thing, because it is a free convention. There isn't a cost for going. So that means as the con presenter, she doesn't have any way of income coming in other than maybe charging for dealers' tables, which I don't know if she's doing or not. I would say I hope she is, but I think she's also giving away a lot right now in order to get more people to show up. Last year was a lot of fun. Last year there was quite a bit of a variety of different vendors who appeared at this convention. It was the May the 4th last weekend. This year, it's 2 weeks away, is Video Game Expo. But there were people who taught Autodesk and Tinkercad. There were guys that were working on their own camera stuff. There were lots of engineering and other places that are looking for students and looking to teach, that type of thing, as well as lots of crafty people selling crafty things. And then a lot of the more standard con things were there as well. There was lots of people that had comic books, that had videotapes and video games and t-shirts. So it was a really nice mixture. It wasn't just the vendor's room that I'm used to seeing at bigger conventions, which is sort of like a focused garage sale. No offense, other conventions, but if you've been, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm hopeful that it should be a lot of fun. It's just one day, and it's just like 6 or 7 hours. It's not even that long of a con, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to be doing that. And then a month later, I'm going to be at Creators Con out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's about mid-May, and I'll be doing the exact same workshop. So I'm going to figure out what the hell I'm doing at April at the Video Game Expo. And then I'll be doing exactly the same thing at Creators Con for exactly the same reasons. I know that some other creators, Ted is one of the ones, who have done demonstrations on how to build something for you. And that makes sense for me to be using a razor knife and to be using glue and to be using the fumes, because that's concentrated with just me up on the stage, right? But I don't want to have 12 to 20 people working on a workshop with multiple glue pots, with multiple razor knives, with all that exposed fumes going on. That just doesn't ping safe in my head. So my plan is to use tape, because tape is fairly safe. Tape we can cut with scissors, basic scissors, and still end up with something that's fun that we can go and play with immediately. And that's also why I don't want to paint it, because as soon as the workshop is done, I want those who want to play with these things to be able to go and play with these things. These are major considerations towards why I'm doing what I'm doing, instead of, hey, let's all make Soul Edge because it's cool. Yes, it is. It's going to take way more than an hour for all of you guys to do it. So let's wrap a sword with duct tape. Yeah, super glue probably wouldn't be so bad there. Tell us about the Twinkie Odin Makes. Junker, thank you. Oh, Bryce New is here. Right on. Oh, hey, okay. Someone say roof wrapping duct tape. Hey, Odin. Hey, Stephen Hall. Hey, Odin, I'm back after quite a while. I've been battling some pretty major health issues. Ooh, I'm sorry, Bryce. That's what you told me, right? But I'm back to assist you in all things Ghostbusters. Hope all is well with you. Thank you very much, Bryce New. I am currently doing a second and third coat, brush-on coat of creaturecast onto the parts. I still have to do the motherboard that's attached to the backpack. I've got my panels coated, and then I'm going to dig in the boxes and hopefully super glue the greebles on. So, technically speaking, I should paint them all before I super glue them on. So I will figure this out when I get there. Rick Rennis did a video talking props. Holy moly, Batman. Yes, I saw that. It's the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and he's doing a talk about props, which is very cool. I have not watched it yet. I just saw the thumbnail. Wonder if I should just work on my suit there. Yeah. It'll be a live cosplay build demo. It's cosplay from a video game. It'll be getting more stuff done on it. Dan, yes. Yes, you should. You absolutely should bring your stuff and work on it on your booth. You can answer questions. You can talk about how you're working on it. That is literally what I did for Ryobi out at New York Comic Con and at C2E2. Both those, that's all I did the entire time I was at the con, was make, and I had to make something up because I was at, Ryobi's booth on their behalf, so I didn't want to do anything that was copyright, right? Which, thinking back on it, that's probably way more than I need to worry about, but that's what I worried about, and they seemed okay with it. Basically, yes, you absolutely should bring a portion of your whatever you want to work on, and you should bring whatever you've got done, so you have, this is what I've gotten done. Here's my finished Gundam. Here's the head that I've gotten done so far, and now I'm working on the cod piece, which is going to go right here, guys. So, yeah, you absolutely should bring that and work on it, because, yeah, you'll get stuff done. You'll answer questions, and I don't think anyone's going to be upset. And with you using, if you're the only one using contact cement, and you brush it on really quick and then, cap it back up, as opposed to, imagine a workshop where you got somebody who's going to pull the brush out, paint it on, and then set it down. Now, both of those things are just putting fumes into the air. You're not going to do that. You will probably put the brush back where it goes in order to keep the fumes under control. I personally wouldn't have an issue and wouldn't flag you using contact cement at your booth at the con, even in that smaller room, because you're going to be way more mindful about what's going on instead of trying to inform others about trying to be mindful. So yeah, no, totally do it. That'd be great. I'm going to just show up like I usually do. Although I suppose I could, but my plan was to just show up like I usually do. It's interesting. I could see a texture difference between the two halves, like where it had been painted with, where it had been air painted with creaturecast, and where I had sponge painted with creaturecast. I could see a color difference. It probably just disturbed the dust, but I could see it. Ace is here. Greetings and salutations. In the middle of something right now, so I'll watch in the future. Just wanted to say hi, everyone. Hey, Ace, and smash the like button. Thank you, Ace. be honest, I appreciate you guys saying things, you know, typing things in the chat. Like, yeah, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe, because I feel weird saying it. I shouldn't. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel weird saying it, so I don't. Okay. Oh, is that it? That's exposed on this side? Is it just those two halves? Oh, I never painted the backside. Ha! All right. Well, yeah, I got some serious painting to do. Okay, good. I honestly thought I had painted that. All right, there we go. I got something to do. I probably should do the first coat like this so it matches the other ones. The stream starts a little early for everyone in Discord, for all of my you know, supporters, so they can get a little bit of extra content with you know, live one-on-one, just us type of a thing. And yeah, they were joking to me about, well, you got the panels painted, the ones that are in front here. You know, you got the panels painted. What are you going to do for the main live stream, Odin? Surprise! I'm going to paint the rest of the backpack, because I honestly thought I did this already. Nope. So unlike when I was speeding through getting the rest done, and honestly I was speeding through trying to get the rest done, I'm being a little more reserved on the amount. This first coat I'm dabbing, right? And doing that intentionally because it creates a crinkled texture. It's a brush stroke type of a thing, right? And I'm doing it first coat, not because that's ideal, but because that's how I did the other pieces, and I kind of want them to sort of a little bit match. In all honesty, and maybe on the other pack I'll do it, because as I talk my way through it, the first coat I probably should just spread on as smooth as I can, and then do this as the last coat to put that texture in. But that's not the way I started this, and even though it's not too late, I'm just going to keep doing this one anyway, because we'll be able to see if there's a difference. So yeah, April 1st is coming up soon. It's not quite here yet, but hey, let's all watch paint dry, because that's traditional. Yeah. Sorry, guys. So yeah, what other cons am I doing up soon? I just talked about them, really. The big ones that I'm looking at doing is, because SACCon is happening right now, and I'm not there. Then in addition to that, there's going to be the Video Game Expo that's going to be on April 5th in Rancho Cordova. Then the Creators Con in Colorado Springs in May. And I'm really sorry I don't remember exactly which weekend that is. I think it's the 19th. But my memory is not working very well right now, so not sure. And then after that, I don't think I have solid con plans until... No, I guess I do. After that is going to be Lodi Con, and that's going to happen... Is that also in May? I think that's also in May. I think I got two cons back-to-back in May there. I think they've got Lodi Con and Creators Con. Then there's going to be Stockton Con. That'll happen in July. And then finally SAC Anime will come back around in Labor Day weekend, which is the first weekend in September here in the U.S. Seeing activity in the chat. Do you all have the parts to finish these packs? Maybe. I should have most of the artsy parts, I think. What we don't have is we don't have a soundboard yet, and we don't have speakers yet, because we do want to have that put in. But at this point, that's going to happen after the fact. We don't have the Rumble vibration packs that Ben Eady was championing, recommending. There's a term for championing something, and I'm not saying that right now. But Ben Eady talked about that, and Felicia thought that was a fantastic idea, and I'm not against it. But what it comes down to is the funds to buy those parts don't have them, and I'm not anticipating getting those funds anytime really soon. There's other things that are more important for me to worry about. So those extra bells and whistles, the reason for putting these panels into the pack that you can't see at all from this angle, sorry guys, but these oh, that's a perfect freaking, I'll go back to 4. Reason for these panels is to be able to add stuff in, right? Like this here will probably always be where the battery goes. Right now the mother soundboard is right up here where the camera still can't see it, and then down here is where we can put the speaker and everything else. And so that's kind of the plan, and I think we're just going to be doing all of that later, because getting these done and working on actually getting the jumpsuits put together, you know, I think it'd be great if we did a couple of live streams. What are you doing after the packs, Odin? I don't know. How about if Felicia and I sit down with dueling sewing machines and we just make, you know, the knee pads and the elbow pads and stuff like that, those other parts that we're going to need to make. And do we have to make them? Well, probably don't. You guys probably know exactly where to get them, but I don't. And so that's all stuff that we need to look at doing in the immediate future. Of course, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that Lewis sent me, and I think Bryce also sent me with, there's a bunch of leather projects for belt attachments, and there's the gizmo, and there's the trap, and the list for doing this just goes on and on and on, and yeah, not against it. Wasn't, it was actually, I was excited about doing the Ghostbuster costume and whatnot a long time ago. Yeah, it's black. That poor thing's all scratched up. All right. Now, trying to remember, Odin, you talked about, oh good, this one hasn't been done either. It suddenly occurred to me, I wonder if I painted this one and not the other one. This one, I'm going to, instead of sponging it, I'm going to go ahead and wipe it with the piece of foam as a way of seeing if there's going to be a difference. Reason for doing it one way versus the other. Elbow pads, Canon brand is what I use. Thank you, Lewis. Just keep falling down the rabbit hole, Odin. Thank you, Bryce. That's what's going to happen. There's a lot of rabbit hole here. The Zaku RX-78 as a Federation really ran out of time. Quick, seal a Zaku and repaint it. Oh, that's fun. Bryce started to ask something. How is Ben Eady doing? He has been offline for a while. Oh, wow, Lewis, I didn't know. As far as his health, last I heard, he figured out what was going on with the tremor in his hands, and he got that under control. That was still well over a year ago, and he was really relieved about that. What is he doing? The last time I talked to him, he has gotten a new partner and a new front runner for the foam chainmail, so that is still happening. So he's got somebody new to help him work with that, and he talked about sending me some more, which I'm like, that'd be awesome. I'm not going to say no. You know, thank you, Ben. And he also sent me the, because I had asked, he sent me his files for when he 3D printed the flame pieces for Lego, because I had broken those. It's over here. So it's the Lego flame piece. He had 3D printed this, and it had a pip that it glued to in the base. This, after 4 years of going to cons, this, or whatever it was, I guess it wasn't 4, maybe it was only 2 or 3, but anyway, it finally broke enough that I wanted to redo from start. And so he sent me the files for it, which is amazing. And yeah, so I'm able to take care of that. And at that time, yeah, I think he had more projects coming up. You haven't heard from anything on him online recently. He's probably working on something movie related or some other, I'm rubbing neoprene off my fingers. I think he's probably working on something he generally can't talk about in public, right? Because that's usually the way things go when you're working on a big movie project or something similar, that it is assumed, and sometimes you actually have to sign paperwork called an NDA or non-disclosure agreement, that you're not going to talk about what you're working on publicly because you don't want to talk about what you're working on early for two reasons. Why don't you want to talk about, don't you want the buzz to happen? Yeah, you do, but you don't want to start it 3 years in advance, 2 years in advance. Not usually. Marvel's okay with it at this point because they're big enough. But, and even then, they don't, right? They're still pretty close to the chest about what you're meaning. Like, it's a poker term. You got your cards, you're holding them close. About what the new projects are, because you don't want to advertise, you don't want to give away what it is you're doing, because the excitement's going to die down. It's going to go from, oh, that sounds cool, I want to see it, when's it coming out? 2 years? Who cares? That's forever. And people will literally forget about it, or when it does finally come out 2 years later, it's like, oh, that thing? Yeah, I remember them talking about that. And the excitement and the buzz for the project isn't there. So you end up not talking about it until it's actually ready, and then people get excited about it, and you can actually follow through on that excitement and have them go see it or whatever. That's the thought, anyway. That's the general thought for how some of that type of stuff usually works. Hopefully, he's working on something. Is the long of it. Hopefully, his health is still good. There's a low-flying aircraft outside. So how well is this working? Well, on camera, you probably can't really tell. I don't know, can you? I mean, basically, I'm using a foam paintbrush, right? It's not. It's just a wad of foam that I tore off of something. It's pretty much working. And I foolishly just set it in the neoprene so the end is totally saturated. See, it's got like an elephant's foot thing going on, even more than, like, this side is the way the foam is cut. This side, the foam, which, can I hold that right to the camera? That side, the foam should be flat. Somewhere around here, and you can see that it's not. That it's bloomed out, right? It's blossomed out a little bit. Anyway, because it's saturated with creaturecast. As I paint on areas that you guys can't see, because what I was working on is over with. It kind of has a latex smell, which is interesting. Whatever this is made from, it's still got. It's not. It's supposed to be a latex substitute, so surprise on this kind of smell of latex to it, a hint of it. You know, it's there, but I wonder if this piece isn't just done because I've got too much saturated in the end. There's nothing wrong with just working on a new piece. You got quite a bit out of this one. What are we saying in the chat? Blah blah, health, blah blah. Yeah. The fresh one is doing much, much, much better. was as I spread it on, I was getting it to pool up in the corner where the panels are supposed to go together. So I'm taking the clean side of the brush and wiping it out of the panel. I know you can't see it, sorry, but so I don't have a big glob of creature cast drying in the corner where I want my cut wood panel to lay down flat. Just trying to be a little nicer to future Odin, something I don't usually do. Oh wow, we're oh, okay. Wow, I'm way behind a lot of stuff. Bryce letting me know that Ghostbusters fans is where they purchase their stuff. Yeah, that could probably happen. There's the rabbit hole comment. All right, this is it. You gonna build the plasma gun? William Wells. I'm not sure which plasma gun now. Maybe? Was there a plasma gun in Ghostbusters? Because at this point I'm trying to equate the two of them, even though that was probably something that was said a while ago. Yeah, so fresh piece of foam with a lot of creature cast on it. Actually went on really pretty smooth and pretty good. Okay, I've still got a little bit of brush marks there. Yeah, I'm painting the side a little because it just doesn't look right to me. It's just scratched up. Will this take? There's a lot of cut ends of foam on the bottom here too. Like here's a little bit up here that I was covering over. Something else to be a tiny bit worried about, which I don't need to be because it's in the back, but like here's off camera. Here's the cut edge of the foam, right? That when that laid down flat, when Shot Gremlin sprayed this oh so long ago, that didn't get a coating on it. So now I want to come back with a sponge, and as well as I can, because I personally can't see it. I'm literally painting this off the video image you guys are looking at. I just want to try and fill that in. And then before doesn't seem like it's hurting. What I'm talking about is I'm spreading wet neoprene, wet creature cast over what I just put on, but it doesn't seem like it's lifting it up, causing a problem. But to look at it, that's gone on, you can't see anything. That seems like it's gone on a lot smoother than the sponging I did before. Well, that's lovely. Well, you know, a lot smoother than it had before, and yeah, I need to remember that if I want to, that creaturecast is working really good on wood. Got another project I need to get finished that was just a weird household project that I want to get done. Basically, I'm making I got a bunch of crap piled on my filing cabinet where my printer that prints out paper. You remember those? The ones that I want my 3D printers to work like. And so I started making a weird little like shelf thing that's going to have cubby holes underneath it for paper to go into as a place of collecting everything. It's one of those projects that I start working on and then just get distracted by everything under the sun, and it doesn't get finished. As I look at it here, it's like, yeah, I need to get some pieces cut so I can finish that and paint it. I might just paint it with creaturecast. Match my filing cabinet. All right, where are we at here? Yanolith, it's no big deal that you're late. I don't mind. I'm happy you showed up. Lois Kazi is been trying to research coding so far. I haven't found any good tutorials or videos or Facebook pages. Okay, so what's Doctor Who? Do you still have the silicone hand you did a couple years back? Yeah. If so, I'd love to see you do the Meta Crisis hand in jar from Doctor Who. That would be pretty cool, actually. That's not a bad idea. There's a episode of Doctor Who where his hand got cut off, but he was still recently regenerated, so he was able to grow his hand back. But his severed hand, like Luke's severed hand, flew off into the void. And unlike Luke's severed hand, it didn't start a whole new religion. Somebody got a hold of it, and it became a whole other plot point to another story that I'm not remembering clearly. But there was a prop with a jar that it had kind of a steampunky Bioshock vibe, if I remember right, the way the jar was built. And inside of it was a hand with a bubbler, right? It was just in there, a silicone hand. Oh, no, that totally worked. Distractions. Lewis, we're talking about coding. One of the things Lewis had asked us off camera was help with potentially getting some coding done in order to bring a Halloween-style animatronic back to life. He's got a hold of one, likes it, wants it to move and work again, but it's broken. Tutorials, there aren't any. I can't really do a tutorial much past what I sort of tiny bit touched on when I did the pumpkin bomb from Spider-Man, because that's about the extent of that coding that I know. And even then, I was looking up a lot of it in order to make it work. I was learning it and then in a way trying to explain how I did it, which I always thought was the most accurate way to present it, other than this is the way you do it, because I'm figuring this crap out half the time myself. NorCal Chopper, Chris, the guy that has made a few chopper droids from Rebels, as well as a number of other droids. This guy is 3D printing and cranking out droids like mad. He's talking about using ChatGPT as a way of creating his code. He literally asks ChatGPT, I need a code using this style of motherboard. It needs to output to these types of lights. I think he's generic and says, I want these. I want to set that blink. I want to set that's constant. I want the blink a particular color. I want it to be a constant a particular color. And then on the ones that have a little bit of mobility, like he'll have antennas or a head that turns, he'll say, I've got a motor hooked up, and tell it what motor it is. And then it's usually a stepper motor, which means it can be programmed to rotate a particular motion of degree back and forth. And I think what you were talking about, Lewis, has a couple of motors that would need a little bit of motion. You might have to replace those motors in order for this to work, as opposed to just using generic, 4 volt or 12 volt motors. It's probably a higher gauge voltage than that. But anyway, and he says he usually gets a working code. I think he tells it what code he wants it in too, like whether it's Python or whatever. The motherboard you're using will let you know what types of code it likes to run, and it can do a number of different ones, right? But I think Python, CSS Python or something, was one of the more common ones when I bothered to look. And so you tell all that to ChatGPT, and Chris says half the time or more he gets a code he doesn't even have to modify. It just does what he wants. Now he's looking for blinking lights for a droid, right? Nothing major, but still he gets a code that works. So yeah, I think the other thing Lewis asked about is he wanted to have a sound element as well. So just all those, it needs to play a sound file, which might need an additional sidecar board in addition to the processor, because not all microprocessors handle sound, but a lot of microprocessor boards can identify and trigger a sound board that has to be put on as a daughter board or a sidecar board. My terminology could be very wrong on sidecar versus daughter, because I think a daughter board is actually married with a plug to the motherboard, where I'm saying sidecar because I'm used to a sidecar file in video where it's just another board that's attached with wires to the motherboard. So that may be all it's going to be. But it should tell you the code. It might even tell you, if you ask, it might even tell you the pinout of which controllers are being used for changing those things. Now, ChatGPT can't figure out from you telling it, I'm using a Featherboard 2683 LE with Bluetooth capability. If it can't figure out which one you're using, you might actually have to tell it that I want to run lights off of which addressable pin-out ports. Again, hopefully my terminology isn't wrong. The points are where you can solder wire to the motherboard. They usually have names on them, letters or numbers or a combination. And so you can tell, hey, I want the lights to blink off of this one. I want the lights to blink off of that one. And when you're doing it, a lot of the time, those pinouts are only controlling the positive flow of power, that you have a common neutral that everything goes back to. I could be wrong. If I'm sending you down the wrong road, I'm sorry. This is what I remember with how I hooked it up. And so when it's doing the code, all it has to do is it's got its basic code saying that, once every 26 milliseconds or whatever, 2,600 milliseconds. There's actually a length of time a human would notice. You want the light to go from, 0 brightness to 100 brightness. And then 2,600 milliseconds later, it goes from 100 brightness to 0 brightness. I mean, that's kind of what the code is, right? And you can even usually tell it that it's going to do that over a length of time. That from 26,000 milliseconds to 48,000 milliseconds, it's going from 100 brightness to 0 brightness, so it actually dims. That's the type of language-ish that the Python is looking for. But anyway, apparently ChatGPT was working for Chris, and sorry that I personally haven't responded, but that was my thought. I haven't played with it that way yet either. I haven't come across a project where I want to make something work with a board that I am not familiar with. Seems like I got a project right in front of me that would be ripe for such a thing. This is just soak it up again, isn't it? Yeah, anyway. There's that thought. Did I explain that well enough? Did I over-explain that well enough? So running late. Health, yeah. Electronics. Yeah, reprogramming or modifying. So Lewis, paraphrasing a comment here that I'm seeing from Lewis about reprogramming and modifying Halloween prop electronics. The actual electronics board, you're probably best removing it and tossing it into the bin and starting over all over again. That may not be true, but if the problem lies within the board, from a person working on it point of view, it's probably going to be easier to just start over. It would be for me. A lot of times when those boards go bad, the few that I've seen, that I've watched Shop Gremlin diagnose, when they find the problem, it's a chip that has overloaded and literally exploded, or there's some other super micro transistor that burnt out. And okay, great, that burnt out. Is that the problem or is that the symptom? And how do you go about correcting all that? You don't. You just replace it. With the lightsabers, it was easy enough for me to add elements external to the board, so the board was still working the way it was supposed to work. Adding external elements of a voltage booster and an audio booster in order to make the lightsabers better, right? But that's not reprogramming, which I mentally don't think you can do, because a lot of that information is just hard-coded into the chips. I have reprogrammed chips, but they were chips from the 80s that actually took, you could remove from the Nintendo cartridge, put into a specific reprogramming unit. You had to peel the sticker off the top, flash it with UV light, which would erase the chip, literally. And then you bring it back out, put your light-sensitive sticker back over it, and then you could reprogram it by adding the new flash program you wanted back onto the chip. All that is now done through USB. It's not done through hardware like it was in the 80s. But the older stuff, that's the way I've done. I have done it in the past. And those chips are huge. Some of those chips are as big as those microprocessor boards entirely are now. Unless should be wearing a respirator. Not so much. Yeah, I talked about it smelling like latex. Not so much with CreatureCast. It is non-toxic. Not a probable route of entry for inhalation. So if you end up with a problem, just move to fresh air. Yep. Yeah, it says wash hands after using. Eventually, solution is in an alkaline dispersion. So in order to help keep this, it's a very alkaline whatever. Anyway, oh, Ralph is here. Good. So Steve D says, why am I using CreatureCast on the motherboard rather than just using paint, as it's not going to be seen? Uniformity of what I'm coating it with. It's what I use. It's what I paid for. And so it's just the same material. It's a weird thing that bugs me a little bit. As it is even right now, I look at the board and I can see the PVC pipes that were spray painted, and then I can see the parts that were covered with CreatureCast, and they both reflect light differently. And so I can see that they were painted differently. So I like using the same material. Since the wood's porous, CreatureCast is going to stick. I'll just use that same material. So it all has the same sheen, the same feel, the same look. So it's uniform. Does it matter on a Proton Pack? No, probably not, because they were cobbled together by Egon from a bunch of different parts that are all going to have different reflective properties. So you're overthinking it, Odin. But that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm doing it. And I'm committed now. Yeah. A lot of, I'm seeing Minecraft talking. Aria51, hey Odin, just woke up. Right on, good for you, it's Sunday. Bryce New, Ghostbusters fans, those pretty accurate belt fobs. Otherwise, if you'd like, I could make you a set of those. I do. Oh, wow, Bryce, oh, that'd be amazing. Somebody sent me patterns for the belt fobs that I was really tempted to laser cut, because that's what I'm going to do. I love the smell of laser cutting leather. But you know, I'm not going to say no. The belt fobs are pretty cool. Oh, wow. Sean Carg won the Evil Ted giveaway this morning. Congratulations, Sean. That's amazing. That's cool. That's how far back I am in the chat. I can see my bar moving. Louis Causey is asking Ralph if he's considered making and selling some V-hooks. Oh, okay, yeah. No, that's what I was thinking. We need to get the V-hooks attached. And as I understand it, I don't want to put those on yet until the pack is done, because we really want to see what the angle is. So I don't want to just break those out and stick them on today. That would probably not be good. But yeah, no. Yeah, blown away. Yeah, I bet. Hello, James Allen. Yeah, no, Ralph, you probably should consider selling them, because those are some pretty nice. Where are they? They're over here. That's not it. That's my. Love how I got the Blades of Chaos in my Ghostbusters box. There we go. Hey, look, Greebles. Yeah, I have to start gluing all this crap on. Okay, well, that's good to know. They should be in the box behind me. Oh, look, they're in the box behind me. So there's that box. Is that the other box? Nope. I've got 3 of these Boston Market catering boxes left over from being at the media center. And I've got Ghostbusters in 2 of them, and I've got giant Lego in a 3rd. Oh, there it is. Well, that's disappointing. Well, I know the V-hooks are safe. They got packed. V-hooks are safe. They're packed. I actually can remember these. I got to keep safe and set them aside, so I can't break them out and show them off right now. Very sorry, Ralph. But yeah, the V-hooks that he made from solid aluminum are very secure, have a great feel to them, And I'm super excited as hell to have a set. So, yeah, if they're not a whole lot of effort, I would say that, yeah, you should look at potentially just selling them, because that was a complaint I was hearing at the conventions with the local guys, that they don't trust the V-hooks, right? They're either banging them out of flat stock metal of some sort in order to get something that's going to grip, or they're on for decoration and they just hang their wands off their belts that they don't want to have. They don't want to have stuff break. And so, yeah, if you're able to crank those out, which I personally would not be able to, yeah, that could work. Coming back, Torchwood. Captain Jack and his Cardiff sector. I wish how the main show got it back, because the TARDIS for fuels in Cardiff. Yeah. Oh, was that? Well, was the hand came from Torchwood? Is that where it was from? Okay. Yeah, a lot of talk about the Doctor's hand. That's great. No, Torchwood is a great series. I enjoyed that a lot. Ooh. Any other Lego props planned for the future? Yes, Jonker the Collector. Junkler. Yes, I was working on some. I'm looking at making more parts. One of the things the live stream someone talked about Lego. One of the things that happened a couple of live streams ago is I realized I had made a mistake with how I was making bumps and pips. And if I wanted to make more pieces that connected together, I needed to rethink how I was doing the studs that go on top and how they connect together. And that if I continued to make ones that were slightly too small because of a miscalculation I did in the very, very beginning, it was going to cause problems down the road with making more complicated pieces. So I spent some time earlier this month really noodling over how I want to rework those pieces. And I've spent a lot of time trying to 3D print a shell, an inner piece, to make the robot arm. There was a part, it's like a too tall stud, right? It's 2 plates tall instead of 3 plates. I don't think it's a full piece. I think it's only 2. Maybe it is a full stud tall. And then it's just got a receptacle on one end that fits over a stud, and then it's just got a stud height that comes up off of it. Yeah, I think it's only 2 tall. And then it has like a robot arm that has like a fake elbow series of rings in the middle of it to a clip on the end. And it's used for a lot of different things, but with Classic Space, that was the robot arm. And you start thinking about, if I want to make a pair of these, if I want to make 4 of these, because I want to make one, it's no big deal to cut out a PVC pipe and go for it and you're done. If I want to make a pair of them or more, then it would behoove me to 3D print a core. And is there a big difference between using a PVC pipe as a core for what I'm going to wrap my foam around versus designing and printing my own core that was made specifically to do that part so they can be uniform in size? And honestly, no. For me, I actually had to reason out, does that bother me or not? And it doesn't, because ultimately it's a piece of plastic on the inside, and I'm still making it. So okay, fine. And what I got hung up on with that, because I got all the parts that the foam's going to glue to, I got all that working great. There was this thought that, well, you have this fake part right in the middle that looks like it's a series of ribs. It looks like it's a grip for a flashlight. The part was banging around out here. It looks like I picked it up. In there. Nope. That's fine. The original Lego piece, of course, it's a solid piece, and that's all it is, and that's all it ever will be because of its size. Because it's only the lightsaber blade or antenna, the rod thickness, the typical, what ends up being 42 millimeter for me, the typical, which is like 3.19 millimeter, I think is what it is. I think. And that's all it is. So Lego can't make that an additional articulated piece. But once I blow it up to 42 millimeters, I totally can. And now that I'm designing it with 3D printing, I'm trying to make it so the hand and clip portion up to the first of those corrugated ribs that are on the side, so it snaps together and the hand can rotate on the robot. So instead of it being stuck with holding stuff sideways, because with the original Lego piece, it clips in and you're stuck with this, right? But if I put a thing here, now I can rotate the hand and it can hold an accessory in a more naturalistic way. That connection has been causing problems. I end up, all it has to do is pop in place, right? It has to flex slightly and it has to click in place. And then I want that part, in addition to all this, I want that part to be the part that breaks at a con, so all the stuff on the outside of it that I personally had to build by hand can be reused by 3D printing a new connector piece that connects the two parts together. I'm on iteration 10. I'm on iteration 8, something like that. I keep having to change it because the little shelf pieces, the little connect pieces on the inside don't have enough overhang that the slicing program wants to put support to them. So now they've become kind of wonky and they don't click very well. Or the actual connector piece, by making that big enough, then flexes too much and it cracks. And I keep printing them in the same orientation, which that in itself is also causing a problem. If I want it to be stronger, if I print it at like a 45-degree angle instead of straight up and down off the build plate, that should give me a stronger, printing it at an angle, changing your layer lines should give you a stronger print. But it also doesn't give me a true round print, right? Because stuff settles while it's cooling ever so slightly, so you're going to end up with a not round part. Realistically, at this point, I don't think I care as I talk through it right now with you guys anymore, because I'm tired of it failing. So I'll probably end up slicing it on a 45 and seeing if that prints any better and it ends up being any stronger. Why don't you use TPU? I'm afraid TPU is going to be too flexible for that part. I kind of want it to be a harder plastic. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too used to injection molded. Anyway. So other Lego stuff in the future? Yeah, there is. I need to get the videotape video done. I need to get my April Fool's video done. And then I can actually start trying to work on something new. And plus, I've got half a dozen Never Edit Land videos that I need to get done. But I'm stuck on I just shot it 6 weeks ago. I shot it in February. Yeah. About making these radioactive tapes for my friend Joe and with his post-apocalyptic, and need to get those done. And that's hard enough for me mentally to get my butt in gear and get doing that. I don't know how hard it's going to be to go back and do something that's years old at this point. Anyway, this is the tape. I'm talking about it in case, for the two of you who haven't seen it. It is a post-apocalyptic VHS tape because Joe Gillis's book, Post-Apocalyptic Joe, takes place in a cinematic wasteland where all sorts of stuff from movies comes out to bother him. And with this one, there's a little switch here as well as a USB charging port. It's so hard to do this with looking at not a mirror. Light, there it is, USB charging port. So this has a rechargeable battery inside, and when you turn on the switch, it becomes a radioactive tape. That's all it does. It glows. It glows very well. And they were a lot of fun to make, and we had fun with it. And I just need to get the video done. And so one of the things I'm planning on doing after the live stream today is reading the portion of the script that I've got written, so I can just get that portion of the script edited. Because if I can see it as a video, I think I can probably get myself going on getting the rest of it done. But trying to just power through and get this is the step I got to do, and I got to get this step done, and just trying to force myself through that step isn't getting it done. So got stuff in front of me. I'll be painting again here in a second. Yeah, I don't want to inhale fumes. Yes, it's 2 studs tall. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dan. Question is off topic. I hope it's all right to ask. No, Wade! Have you ever thought about or done a build of any of the classic robots like Robbie or Lost in Space? The Mechagodzilla was amazing. I have done the B9 as a model kit. And I've seen a B9, this is the Lost in Space, right? He's at some point in time, it was never named in the show. He was just the robot. At some point in time, books or fandom gave him a designation like the Star Wars robots where he has a letter and a number. And so they used B hyphen or B slash 9. I guess not slash, because slash is going to be that. So it's B minus 9. So it's just a capital B, because that sounds like B9, like he's friendly, right? Like he's not a threatening robot. So the B9 robot, I remember seeing one at a Pleasanton Comic Con way back in like 2018, and the thing was gorgeous. The smartest thing that I think the guy did, who was in this, I mean, it was all, you know, what it was supposed to be, right? It's probably a lot of, it had the clicky claws, it had the warning arms that came out, it had the upper body and the buttons. He's got a globe on his head that was available at the time because it was contemporary. Imagine taking a round globe and then squishing it flat. And that's the top of B9's head. That is the single hardest piece to replicate. Seamless, right? Because it is. It's supposed to be a seamless globe with all of the sensors inside. Heating up a globe and just squishing it works as a mental exercise. In life, you would still have to hook up pressure inside of the globe, so when you heat it up, the plastic doesn't relax and it doesn't shrink. If you just take a blowtorch to a drinking, like a soda bottle, you'll see that the whole thing just collapses. So if you want to heat up this globe, you're probably going to need to hook up something to give it positive air pressure on the inside, and then you're actually going to have to like smash it with something that isn't going to put rings on it, right? That isn't going to mark it. Yeah. I may have made that way more complicated than it needs to be, but it feels like those are 2 things you're going to have to do in order to make that part out of plastic. Or you're just making it out of 2 halves and gluing it together and dealing with the fact that you got a seam and, oh, well, no one's really going to care. The part I thought was really cool that he did, because somehow he managed that piece, B9 has got this pointed disc that goes around his neck. Right, it's the very top of his body, the very top of his chest piece, and then there's this ring that goes around, and then that whole sensor head thing comes off the top of it. That's where the operator sees, I think. I don't quite remember exactly if that's specifically a revision. I think it is. But what he did was he laser cut a bunch of rounded triangle pieces and then glued them in an array that went all the way around the neck. By doing that, he got the texture, because the original has like a ribbed, like the side of a poker chip, right? It has a ribbed texture that goes around it. He got that look, but he also got an open pathway for air to get into him, as well as a way that he could see out of the costume, but it wasn't easy to see him inside. And I thought that was effing brilliant. And yeah, so I thought that was cool. Those 2 clear plastic parts are probably the hardest part for building a B9 that I'm aware of. Am I going to tackle it? Probably not, because there's a lot of other things I want to build. What else would I like to build? It may not be as exciting, but I like the idea of building an R5D4, you know? So, maybe something like that. Howdy doodly doo. I'm just tuning in. Hello, DJ Stumpy. I'm way behind on my comments. I have a question, a serious question, one that will test me. Oh boy, now I gotta search for the question, huh? Oh no, good, he hasn't asked it yet. And Dan Just Junk stuck up a piece of the element that I was talking about from Lego. Thank you very much. Change, watchable, okay, there is a certain way the battle droid arms are supposed to be put, okay. The whole suit. Has anyone built a Lego Eggo? Lego my Eggo? Thank you, Lewis. Prop maker, video maker's work is never done. Thank you, Bulky Cosplays. Yeah, pretty much. Izzy Guzzo is here. Advex said, haha, nice one. Yeah, working in a new suit. Okay, not for me. Gundam. Greetings, Odin, from Daniel Knight. Fixing my cyborg demon slayer. Oh, yeah, that'd be good, Daniel Knight. Didn't you just get that done? Of course, that's the way cosplays go, right? I got a lot of stuff I got to fix on Mechagodzilla. Rather build a fembot. Yep. All right. Fair enough. So fembot. Correct me if I'm wrong. Fembot actually there's two different robots, and Lewis, I know you know both of them. There's two different robots that I believe had that same name, right? So you got the fembot from Austin Powers with machine gun jubblies. Then you also had the fembots from $6 Million Man, right? Wasn't there a fembot in that was an enemy of bionic women by creating this fembot that could change out its face to look like somebody else? Inspiration for Austin Powers. You were able to create a worthwhile adversary that Lindsay Wagner, is that the actress or the character? Anyway, the bionic woman could actually, have conflict with, right? Because you have these superhumans that can do superpower things, and you go up against a bank robber. Okay, done. What's next? Right? I mean, not necessarily. I mean, that's good chunk of Spider-Man's that, but once you've established in a narrative, especially with a video, that, you solve this problem by doing this, you run into the Star Trek problem of 2 weeks ago we fixed it with the teletransporter, why aren't you using the transporter again? So they're always having to one-up what the villain can do. DJ Stumpy, the question is this. Given that God is infinite, and that the universe is also infinite, would you like a toasted tea cake? And DJ, yes, a toasted tea cake sounds lovely. Got a wee bit of my tea left from this morning. Now, if that's a reference to something else I'm not getting, because that sounds like Hitchhiker's Guide, but if it's a reference to something else I'm not getting and it's a trick question, then I fell for it. But on face value, yeah, toasted tea cake sounds fantastic. I would appreciate that. Let me get a picture. Thank you, Yanov. Oh, cool. Person that built the pink R2. Nice. Austin Lips is here. Ralph Work is here. Oh, that's good. Wasn't there also a fembot in Flesh Gordon? DJ Stumpy, I have seen Flesh Gordon. I've seen Flesh Gordon in the theaters. Not first run. It came up. Where did I see that at? Did I go down to San Francisco to see that, or did I see that? Yeah, I think I drove down to San Francisco to see that on the screen at one of the art theaters that was down in San Francisco. I don't think Sacramento got it. For those of you who don't know, Flesh Gordon was a adult-themed parody of Flash Gordon, because Flash Gordon didn't have copyright, right? Flash Gordon was public domain even in the late 70s when this was shot on film. And it actually has some really good special effects for the zero budget that was made and for the audience that it was made for, because it wasn't made for general consumption. It has non-simulated sex in it. But it actually has a stop animation monster. Was it Rick Baker? Who was it that did the stop animation for that monster? But he gets hurt or something, and at some point the monster's like, oh, booger hell, or whatever, and starts wandering off because he can't be bothered to fight anymore. It's a way of getting the monster out of the story. But you've got the stop animation monster, and then of course it does some of the rocket ship effects. The rocket ship is fairly phallic looking. That's on wires with sparklers coming out the back. So as it's flying through space, smoke is going up. Those are the parts of that movie that I remember, as well as it was shot at the Exploratorium. It was shot at the Palace of Fine Arts, I believe is what it's called, in San Francisco, because it was a leftover building from a World's Fair from the 20s, I think. And it still has one of the section of the exhibit halls up, which has columns and a large dome and, exterior, because it was all the very Art Deco classical type of architecture that was popular 100 years ago, literally. The whole Palace of Fine Arts used to be much, much bigger, but they demolished, half of it or so, and protests started up, and they had started working on another piece. So that piece had to be demolished because it wasn't savable, but they were able to keep the Marina District, was able to keep this one small section of this building, and now that's where the Exploratorium is in San Francisco, and I think it's still open. The Exploratorium is a hands-on science museum where the people who work there, and actually my stepsister used to work there. It's a hands-on museum where you go in, you're able to do art experiments, or not art experiments, science experiments. But the people, the curators who are running, are also the people who make the experiments, and it's all sorts of things. You've got stuff where you're working with sound echoes, or you're working with how light refracts in water, stuff that's easy to do and replicate on a regular basis with visitors that come in. But also it was playing with programs that did eye tracking to show how the eye, so you could track how you were looking at images or how you were reading something, right? So you would set yourself up and it would read where your eyes were, and then you would look at documents and stuff, and it would give you a report on how your eye flowed through the document, or what parts of classical artwork got more attention than others, type of a thing. And there's a lot more to it than that. There's static electricity, all sorts of stuff. But anyway, so that building's there with this classical looking building that they're able to use as an external for exterior for Flesh Gordon, the movie. And I don't remember if there was a fembot in that, as I try really hard to get back to why that was brought up before I went off on my own little thing. Could have been. I mean, the idea of a fembot, which was never copyrighted anywhere that I'm aware of, anyone can just use that term, I think. It could have been one in that. Do I recommend all of you young, fine, fantastic people to run right out and find a copy of Flesh? No. Find pictures. You can see the effects that I thought were really cool, but just by finding the pictures. But it is a super low budget, cheesy. It is the old school full screen aspect. It's the Academy aspect ratio. It's 4:3. It was shot on 16 millimeter or Super 8. I think it was shot on 16 millimeter film with a high grain. So there's just is it worth watching? Maybe. For nostalgic and oh yeah, I've seen that thing. But I wouldn't, yeah. Sent me a screenshot of the second Battle Droid arms on Discord in DMs. Okay, let's go. Hey everyone, let's watch Odin use the internet. And we're over here. We're going to go to Yonolith, and we got that up. And yes, that's right. Going back to me talking about robot arms from Lego arms, where stuff was stuck, clipping to the side, and that was all they could do. Lego realized this issue, and they made a second version of the Battle Droid arms where the part is rotated so they could actually hold the blaster in a way that is what you would expect. So the Battle Droids weren't so gangsta all the time. So there is that part, but that's not the droid arm I'm talking about. Dan posted a picture, I think, too. It's a much older one from the 80s that didn't look like anything. It was just Lego's take on it. But yes, no, that's those Battle Droid arms are great. I like that those came out. There was a point in time when I was working on a Lego scale 3D print Battle Droid, and I was actually trying to make the elbows to be able to click and move because, again, you're scaling it up. Why not? I have to accept the fact that it's okay to alter the original. The original didn't do that, so I don't want it to do that. That's almost always my attitude, but it's like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make this do this, because I can. Dan had posted, yes, Ad Vixen, okay, Just Trippy, okay. I'm a little behind on that. Is that the Zaku Gundam? Doesn't look like it. That looks like the RX-78. Oh, there's the... Oh, I see the Zaku Gundam in the smaller picture. All right. Anyway. I think the first Ash part of my mashup. Nice. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Oh, the Asylum of Beyond the Dead. That's a fantastic... The Asylum of Beyond the Dead. That's a fantastic username. I hate to type it in, though. Huge fan. Thank you. And thank you. Making more stuff. So what am I doing? I'm looking at this. Is this dry? Yes, that's dry. What I should do is probably put a second coat on the backpacks. I do want to make more props. That's the fun part. There was a point in time back when the video stopped. There was a point in time when I couldn't fathom the idea of making the props. I didn't have the creative burn to do it. I've got that again. Now I just got to get back in the habit of actually doing it. So I'm glad that, you know, I've got some progress there that I didn't have. So what changed? Why is it hard? I think a big part of it is I'm having my day job has always been editing, so that's not just it. That's just a convenient excuse. Energy level isn't the same, you know. I've ended up getting a full-time job that is a little more than full-time, and when I'm done with the day, I'm done for the day, and I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to go right back to work, basically. And while this isn't exactly work, kind of is. There's a certain amount of discipline you have to go and do just to do it. Is it worth it? Yeah, actually it is. That's the hard part. I am glad that I kept going to conventions, and I'm glad that I keep going to conventions, because if I didn't have that interaction, right, I probably would have lost lost the fire, lost the urge, lost the creative spark to keep going on stuff. There's a certain amount of creative spark that still would have been there, because I've always made things, right? You know, as a kid, I'm cutting up toothpicks and buying balsa wood so I can glue, you know, Ewok village style walkways onto the rocks of the fireplace, just because it's what I want to do. I gotta build something. So that's would still be there, but having this as an outlet is massively huge for me, and I like it, and I appreciate you guys watching, and appreciate you guys encouraging me to continue to do stuff. That has done a lot. It has done a lot for me. That all of you continue to watch, continue to give me pointers, give me help on what's going on, and help keep me inspired to keep doing things that, you know, there was a point in time when I would get super excited about trying to build something, but you would hit a stopping point. You'd hit something that would fail, and then the whole project would just go in the bin. You know, I can remember in the 90s, the only model kit for a TIE fighter was the TIE Interceptor, but I always wanted the straight wing TIE fighter from Star Wars, because that's what I wanted. That was the original. Just wasn't, at that time, wasn't available. It is now, but it wasn't available by Monogram or Epic or whoever it was that had the Star Wars license. They just keep repressing the one from Return of the Jedi. So I bought one of the kits, and I scratch built a wing, and I scratch built a wing, you know, this is all by hand, right? There's no special tools at that time that I had that helped me with this. Scratch built both halves of it with the intent of once they were cast, I could just glue them together. So, you know, half and half. lying on a piece of wood. And then once I got it all done, and I spent a lot of time on it, and then it came time to cast it. And I'm going to go out and get silicone, only to find out that even at that time, silicone was $100 a gallon. It's like, well, I can't buy that. That's how much I have to spend on food for the next month. I can't spend that on silicone. I'll try urethane instead. The glob of uncured urethane that never set up was thrown away a year later because what am I going to do with it? I can't clean it off. I can't anything. I didn't have patterns or plans. I winged it the entire time building the wing because I can look at a picture and build it. I can measure things and build it. No, that's fine. So I'm starting over from absolute zero, or the entire project just goes in the bin, and that's what happened. So yeah, I'm grateful that you guys are here to help me, to give me an outlet to help to watch and to help encourage me to keep things, working on things and getting them finished, and not just chucking them in the bin. And yeah, there's projects here that have been started, recently that are still need to get done, that are sitting around because some little thing went wonky with it. And yeah, we were making some Draugr skeletons for Halloween that ended up getting on massive hold, and they haven't been touched. And at this point, Halloween is only half a year away. So what point are you going to bring that out and start working on it again? Because you've gone from, I've got a year to finish it, to, well, you've got half a year to finish it. Halloween Day is more than a year away, but if you're going to set up any kind of a Halloween decoration, that's not a year away. So, that first one, a long time ago, I was sponge painting and which puts a texture onto, put a texture onto the surface. And so I did that for the first coat. And with this one, the first two coats, basically, I just painted with the sponge, just wiped it on like you would a paintbrush, and it actually went on really smooth and nice. So for the finish coat on this one, I want to do this, where I'm stippling the creaturecast in order to get that texture. Now this is the same type of thing I did to the Right-Handed Doom build in order to give it the little stony texture it had. And I think I did this to the Facehugger as well. Although when you're painting latex onto foam, this is about the only way you can do it. It's either spray it on or this. Yeah, so with this one, I want to do this last to see which one worked out better. And it is warm enough out here that this stuff is drying pretty quickly, which I think we all remember from using the air gun, that it ends up drying fairly quickly. I do have a hairdryer I can bring out. I'm trying to be more uniform because I was tired and pushing through on those panels, and the texture pattern from doing this stippling thing was not consistent. It had some very large, ugly clumpies to it that I don't want. So I get to work on that. Yeah, like this is starting to foam up pretty bad because I hit the edge. Also, I'm going faster because I'm getting... Mentally, it's like, well, you've done that. Get done. Just be done with this. I still need to work on getting the captive pieces for this, right? Because I glued parts wrong. I cut parts and glued parts wrong for how I want to put the panels on. I need to add in the pieces that'll help hold the square panels in place, as well as figure out how I'm going to put some sort of threaded receptacle that's metal threaded and not just, you know, drywall screw into the wood, which will break down in time, so the panels can be screwed on and held in place. There, like that. So it went from being smooth to this type of a textured look. So can I get the, yeah, whatever, it doesn't really matter. There's a high piece down there that's in my way of tilting it. The grain silo. So as the creaturecast dries, which it is a water-based thing, so it will literally, you know, dehydrate to dry, this texture will calm down. It will flatten out a little bit, but it's not going to smooth ever. It won't smooth out. That's not what's going to happen, and that's okay because I don't want it to. So I'm not upset with what I've got there. That was kind of, it's one of those things that I'm possibly remembering wrong, right? Like even looking at the old Omni cover on the magazine, I mentally have the idea that Proton Packs have that texture like 50s and 60s electronics, heavy duty electronics has that like spattered enamel texture to it. And so I've always assumed these have had that texture as well, and that's what I'm trying to go for a little bit. And as I say that out loud, at least I know there's a few people here in chat that'll let me know that, no, you're trying too hard. But, you know, we'll find out. Plus, you know, I'm using a 84 inspired pack and making it my own, so it's okay. It doesn't have to be. I am not trying to make one of the screen accurate packs. I'm trying to make a recognizable pack that one can walk up to and go, oh, that's a Proton Pack. That's all I'm trying to go for. Okay. I think maybe that's all I'm going to do with creaturecast for today with my black fingers. Coming over here. Where are we at? Oh, is it really 1:30 already? Good. Should make the Iron Spider helmet. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Still takes brain powder. Thank you, Arcana A. I don't know what that's talking about right now. My brain doesn't work on that. So, ironic animations. That's fantastic. Hey, Ironic Animations, what do you animate? Do you animate animatronics? Is it ironic animatronic animations? If it is, please talk to Lewis. Hi, also, I'm a big fan. I'm just popping in to see how the stream is going. I'm painting stuff. Keep making awesome stuff and keep being awesome, Odin. Thank you, and everyone in the stream. Thank you, Ironic. See, that's what I was encouraging me to keep building. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. I'm not trying to dig for compliments. Lewis, are you going to build the wands or just buy them from Hasbro? We're going to build them. We're talking about the neutrino ones? Yeah, they we're already, I touched the wet stuff. We're already in process of building the wands. Same thing. This is the designed by Chris from Lost Wax Oz. He's put out a full tutorial video on how to make packs, how to make an Alice frame pack from PVC pipe, and how to make the wands with free patterns. So I contacted Chris directly, and he said, "Yeah, you can do a live stream using my patterns." So that's what I'm doing. So we've got the we got our wands built, including the Q pack part heat sink glued to the side here. So that was yeah, that's totally what we're doing. No, we're gonna build them, but at this point, I think this is gonna sit until the packs are more done. I really, we've bounced around a lot with this project because it's fun. Oh, wow. There's a super chat. We bounced around a lot with this project because it's fun. But what we want to do is, I want to get the pack done. And when the pack is done, then I want to move on to getting the wand done. And we're at a point where it's a physical for getting the pack done. So I just want to, I just want to do that. So the wands are going to wait, but we do have them. Plus the wands are going to introduce a whole new extra element of puzzle, right? It's PVC, so it's got, do we make the ends extend or not? Probably not. Do we, that's where the rumble pack should go, not in the pack itself. So the wands are doing something when you're firing them. Because I believe that's what Ben did for the ones in Afterlife. Although it could have been both, and I think he even put a rumble pack in the gunner's chair that popped out of the side of the Ecto-1. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff we want to do, but we're making the ones. Now we got a super chat for $50. Wow, thank you, Ace. Use this for blank. You two fill in the 3 blanks. Keep doing what you do. Wow, Ace, thank you. Thank you, Ace. I don't know if, Ace, I don't know if you're going to be around or able or interested going to Colorado Springs, Colorado in May, but I'm going to be up there for Creators Con. From a point of view here in California, that is at least closer to where we first met and talked in Oklahoma. But even then, I know you drove for like half a day to get to Oklahoma. So it'd be awesome if you've got the ability to do that. Cheese isn't going to be able to make it out there because I got to hang out at that Creators Con with both Ace and Cheese, and it was great. And then we did another Creators Con in Lafayette, Louisiana, and Cheese made it out to that one. We got to hang out, and it was great. But there was an error where I was being promoted as going to another con, and Cheese did all the travel plans to be able to do that. I didn't go. His budget for doing that has been blown for the year, so he's not going to be there at Creators Con. It's okay. I still talk to him all the time. Lewis says, oh crap, I forgot. Oh, Lewis is getting commercials every 13 minutes, but Steve is only getting 1 an hour. I wonder if that's geographical. Because Lewis, you're here in the States, right? And Steve is not. Steve is UK, aren't you, Steve? Or are you more Europe? But anyway, and even though those are kind of sort of the same continent, I'm pretty sure it's okay to try to separate those, right? I'm not trying to be insensitive. Yeah, anyway, thank you so very much, Ace. Hi, Ace, from Yonolith. Yes, Minecraft roller coaster that I was trying to build last night. That's what Chakram was currently working on. Shady, are you sure you can handle that super chat? Probably not, Shady. Ollie AG. Hi, Odin. Love you. Oh, thank you, Ollie. I'm glad you can make it to the stream. Jeez, yeah, Chakram was making an amusement park on Minecraft. Yes, in England. Okay, that's what I thought. So was UK inappropriate? England. I guess, no. That's, yeah. Like, I'm always saying I'm from California, but yet I'm part of the USA. So you're in England, even though that's part of the UK. Get it? I just have to make it fit in my silly American brain. Yeah, that's what I thought, Steve. I thought you were in England. And you've still got a big collection of vintage video game consoles, right? Or is it computer consoles? That was you, wasn't it? I get none. I blocked them. Right there with you, Ralph. Let's talk about ads. Block who? Ralph has got an ad blocker, so he doesn't watch the ads at all. So DJ Stumpy says, I see Mr. T is at the Comic-Con this year. Sadly, I'm in the UK, which is a shame, as he's on my list of people I'd love to meet. Yeah, Mr. T would be pretty cool. Is there anybody that you haven't met that you'd like to? One of my bucket list people that I wanted to meet, I finally got to a couple years ago. That would be Adam Savage. There is somebody... Okay. No, off the top of my head right now, there isn't a particular person that I know of that I would really like to meet. I'm not against meeting people, and there's a lot of creatives and a lot of writers and filmmakers and actors that I know of that would be awesome to meet them, but I don't have this, oh, I gotta go meet them, burning desire, right? It's weird. It's whatever. It's just, me. There is a person who I've never met or talked to, but because he was in the movie Big Trouble in Little China, I'm excited that he's also going to be at Creators Con. It's one of the three Storms is going to be there. The guy who played Lightning, which out of the three Storms, I believe he lasted the longest in the movie. But according to the showrunner, I'm going to be right next to him for the day at the con. Our booths be right next to each other, which is really cool. Because out of Big Trouble in Little China, the Three Storms was one of the ones that I remember talking about. They'd be fun to cosplay. In the movie, they've got some modernistically stylized classic Chinese armor, which has got and Lightning specifically has a lot of scale mail on it. I think all three of them have scale mail. Thunder is one that I could do because he's a heavier set guy and he had more lines in the movie, right? He's the one that when he finally self-destructed, he just inflated till he popped. Spoiler, all three of the Storms die. They were villains. That's the way the movies go. Surprise. I'm actually not remembering how Rain died right now. But and then Lightning was crushed by a falling statue. Oftentimes in the movie with these three Storms, they also had these giant rattan hats. They had these giant woven hats that would come down and cover their face. And so they came out to the sides so they could see out, right? But you really couldn't see them. They had these giant mushroom heads. And at least Thunder had a cape. I think all three had a cape. And Lightning had this fantastic intro where he had a hold of a piece of lightning and he landed down into the frame. And often when Lightning's doing his, throwing lightning around in the movie, it's all hand animated. There are Chinese characters added into the animation, or Chinese inspired characters that actually don't say anything, which is probably what the truth is. So when the statue lands on his head, there's this thing that tries to be said, and I don't think it translates. Some of you might know, and you probably will tell me because as I'm saying this, but I don't remember it translating anything. Anyway, I think it's pretty cool that I'm going to be able to effectively spend the day sitting next to this guy, next to a movie that I've always enjoyed, next to a character that has near zero lines in the movie, but I always liked, and was part of a trio that at one point I talked about wanting to cosplay. So that's kind of fun to me. What's going to be interesting is I know him from the movie, and I can picture the character in the movie. That was the 80s. That was a little while ago. He's not going to look the same. So I'm curious how much he's changed over the years. All right, Daniel, go get dinner. Thanks for coming by. So the three Storms weren't the heroes? I'm sorry, Malky. I guess it depends on your point of view, huh? Lao Chen? Wow, listen, I can't remember... Yeah, wow. It's Egg Shen, so it's not, which was Walter Chang or yeah. God, that actor used to live in Sacramento. The guy that ran the underworld, there were his three champions. So from his point of view, they should be heroes, but and Thunder directly reported to him. He was the cursed one that needed the whole story revolved around needing to get a hold of a girl with green eyes to lift his curse so he doesn't be plagued by the demons anymore. Anyway, it's a fun movie, and it is supposed to be bonkers. So if you've never seen Big Trouble in Little China, do not expect a serious movie. It takes itself seriously, but it's not a serious movie. And the best part is Kurt Russell plays Jack Burton, and he is presented as the action hero. He is the musclehead, truck driving, all-American dude. He's the one that's obviously this is the hero of the film, and he's not. He's a bumbling idiot who is nearly ineffectual the entire film. His sidekick, who runs around with him, who they're in there trying to rescue his girlfriend, his sidekick kicks way more ass and has way better idea about what's going on than Jack does. The entire movie is fantastic. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Basically, it's a combination of a kung fu movie and a western set in 1980 San Francisco. It is bonkers and it's fun. Lopan. Thank you, Monkey. That was it. Lopan. Yeah. Little basket case on 4 wheels Lopan, or 9 feet tall walking through truck Lopan. Yeah, he's great. And that actor's great. He's still around, too. The actor that played Lopan. I said Wang. Thank you, Lewis. I don't know why, but I always mix up Big Trouble in Little China with Showdown in Little Tokyo. Why? Who knows? I've never seen either, and I'm a child of the 80s. Showdown in Little Tokyo, was that the Jackie Chan one? Or was that Rumble in the Bronx, or was that both? No, that's okay. They're still all good. I don't know those other two as well. I've seen them. I've seen Showdown in Little Tokyo, and I've seen Rumble in the Bronx. And if I'm using the right name, that was one that I remember seeing on VHS tape way back in the day, and it was an early American Jackie Chan movie. So I may not have the right title. But there was a point in time when, and that was more of a period movie. It was like 40s New York, if I remember right. And Jackie Chan's uncle, father, grandfather, mentor, dude in charge is telling him he's not allowed to fight. Don't you fight. And so there's this fantastic fight sequence with Jackie Chan running around with the guys who are trying to fight him for whatever reason. But he never throws a punch. He opens the door. He sidesteps to the trash can. He drops something from the ceiling. He steps out of the way, and the two guys clunk into each other. And the whole time he's like, "What? What? I'm not fighting. Look, I'm not fighting. Why are you yelling at me?" And that was, anyway, that's all I remember from that movie because I enjoyed that scene. Yep, Rumble in the Bronx fight scenes in the Streets of Rage 2 video game special effects. Yeah. Dino Boy Gaming and Reviews. Oh, thanks for popping in. No Brandon Lee. Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Love Big Trouble. Then we've got Advix and 80s Big Trouble in the Green Hornet. That's what it sounds like. 80s Big Trouble. Okay. I'm not following that. Okay. No, Green Hornet was fun, but yeah. Also love the Big Trouble in Little China. There's a fan theory / good possibility. Previous to Big Trouble in Little China, there was another bonkers science fiction movie that's also a hell of a lot of fun as long as you just let the dang movie play out and let it do its thing and don't try to take it seriously and don't try to dissect what it's doing because it's bonkers. This is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. And I dare any of you to fight me on the fact that that's a bonkers movie. I love it. At the end of Buckaroo Banzai, there's a title card that pops up that says Buckaroo Banzai will be back, or watch for the next adventure of Buckaroo Banzai versus the Underground Crime League. And there's the thought that the Underground Crime League script was rewritten to as a basis for Big Trouble in Little China. Now, at the same time, John Carpenter says he wrote Big Trouble in Little China because he was inspired by cowboy movies and by kung fu movies. So I don't know where the truth lies in that. Obviously, there's something that John Carpenter specifically said. But at the same time, was he, here's the script, can you rework it type of a thing, right? Or is it that he wanted to make this movie because he was inspired by those movies? But the fact that Big Trouble in Little China is as bonkers as it is, and Buckaroo Banzai has a fantastic cast for when it was made. So it was the early 80s. You've got, Peter Weller, Jeff Goldblum, John Lithgow, Clancy Brown, I'm forgetting, tons of, everybody's like, that guy's in it too? Type of a movie, right? Lori Petty's in it, I think. It goes on and on and on. And Buckaroo Banzai is bonkers because he's this superhero, super smart scientist dude, brain surgeon, rock star, that also, because he's playing a concert in the beginning, that also happens to have this entire league of kids like the Boy Scouts called the Blue Blazers that follow the guy around. Because people have got time for stuff like that. Saddle props. Cool. Dino Boy Gaming Reviews wants me to see some Ark Survival Evolved items. That'd be cool. I will remind Odin about finishing his video. Thank you, Shady. Buckaroo Banzai is a great movie. Yeah, isn't it? Because Kanto did all the fighting. Yeah. Is that Kanto from Streets of Rage? Or whoops, now I've got. auto pop-up going on. Anyway, where are we at? We are, so these are still dry, right? Okay, how's this? This is not dry. Oh no, this is pretty dry. Okay, so this is the one where I sponge painted it first, and then I went back and tried to brush over it, and I can see there's definitely a sheen difference, right? Turn the pack around, Odin, because the high point needs to be away from the camera in order for this to work. And you can tell it's a different pack because this one's got the gaff tape in it. This is the one where the battery, the thing's hooked up. So you can see this has more of the reflections. You're getting the brush strokes and less of that hammered eggshell texture, whatever the heck that stuff's called. Now, this goes up against our back. Do I care? Not really, as long as it's black. I say that, of course, I'm really compelled to go ahead and dapple it again. So I think I'll go ahead and do that. Plus, I've got 15 minutes to fill up. At least it's working on the pack for 15 minutes instead of talking about 80s movies that I loved. Another movie that was really a lot of fun, again, had some really good actors in it, like Michael Ironside, and I think it was Molly Ringwald's first movie. Was Clancy Brown in that one too? I don't think so. I think it was just Michael Ironside. I knew it. Now I lost it. The title of it. You guys know what I'm talking about. This is Forbidden Zone, right? The Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. It was one of those Mad Max futuristic off-world knockoff movies that also happened to be 3D at the time in the 80s when everything was coming out 3D again for like 2 summers. And yeah, that was one of those movies that shouldn't be as good as it is. And is it good? No, it's not a good movie, but it's a really good bad movie. And out of all those, Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin, and Ice Pirates, and all those, The Adventures in the Forbidden Zone is probably the best one. And there's a bunch of those that came out those years. In fact, I think the specialized car, the hero car, which has got kind of a... I don't know how to put this. I mean, I do, and I don't mean this derogatory. The hero car for Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, which I'm still not quite saying that right. There's got like an additional name to it. Looks like it was heavily inspired by French animation. The way it's built, the way the curves on it are kind of soft, just the way it is. You look at it and it looks like it doesn't look like Mobius, but it looks like Fantastic Planet. It looks like that type of art style, but done as a physical truck. And that thing still exists. I know that it still does car shows. It's still around. I'm going quick and I'm getting big pieces on it. Also, this has now been soaking, and so the foam is working differently. So, be aware of what you're talking about, Odin, and tear off a new piece of foam. So out of habit, out of the desire to keep my workspace from having a bunch of wet spots on it and a bunch of being dirty, right? I'll take the sponge and set it back into the wet paint because that keeps everything contained. Well, what happens is the sponge does what a sponge foam, because let's admit it, synthetic sponges are just foam. It does what it's supposed to do, which is wick all the material up and saturate itself, and then it doesn't paint the way you want it to paint. You'd think one of these days I'd learn. Yeah, probably not. Because this is how Odin makes. So what's going to happen in 2 weeks? Well, for one thing, hopefully Felicia will be here and we'll have someone else to talk to. That's going to involve me contacting Felicia and making sure that she is interested in going. And since it's going to be the same weekend as the Video Game Expo, she may not have the energy for it, and that's okay. But for this project, I really think I'm down to seriously looking at what the greebles are and probably painting those and getting those ready to be put on. And I need to get the ribbon cables put on, which requires a couple of pieces of. I want to cut aluminum again because I can either cut a piece of plastic and then work on it to try and make it look like aluminum, or I can just cut a piece of aluminum. And so I need to look at doing those again. Although Felicia was looking at it last time, I think the parts that I made for the larger ribbon cables that we handmade are still going to be okay, because some of these packs, that brace piece that I'm trying to recreate out of aluminum is oversized, and so it'll be just fine. Yeah, that worked really well. Learning! Okay. Can I pick it up? Oh, don't cut too many times. Hey, I got creaturecast on my switcher. Go through all the effort to make a really good looking texture on the back plate, and then forget to do it on the part that, you know, people are going to see. But that's me. I'm going to put all this effort so it looks really good, you know, on the part that I look at. All right. There's that. Don't put it in the plate. You just talked about that. These are so not floppy now. I was never that worried about them being floppy when we were working on them before, but they're not floppy. It's nice. All right. So, yeah, that looks like a. It's a little spot there where the wood was still shining through pretty badly. But that's looking okay. Can I? I don't think I need to bother, but I can't get in there. Oh, you say that. Smoosh. I could see a little bit of gray foam, but it was in between the these vane pieces that are on the bottom, these flat panels. I know what I'm looking at. Hopefully you Ghostbusters guys know what I'm looking at, but we cut out these 2mm. Oh, look, I can see red between them. You know, I probably need to come back and really look at these with get a paintbrush maybe, or a Q-tip. Yeah, anyway, I can really see places where the black didn't cover, and I can still see the original color of the foam. But I'm looking at it like this. Most people are going to look at it on video, so it's going to be fine. So next week, I think, actually you say 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I think, greebles. If I can get to the hardware store, I want to try and get the bits and pieces I need to make these panels fit in and go on. I know we need to actually attach them to the Alice packs. And the Alice packs don't need a whole lot, right? The Alice packs need a bit of pipe insulation for where it goes up against the back of your neck, and those are just zip tied on, and I think that's it. I'll need to look at pictures for that. Since I'm getting more pipe insulation foam, that probably can happen. Yeah. What are you doing in the stream today, Odin? I don't know. I guess I'll paint stuff. Yeah, well, I managed to do that and drag it out for almost 2.5 hours. Let's see. Oh, Space Hunter. That's the name I couldn't remember in the first part, because Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Holy crap, that cyborg is nuts. Yes, the cyborg is nuts in that movie. The movie is, you know, a crappy looking luxury liner. You know, again, it looks like that era French animation, because I'm sure that's, you know, designers, where it came from. But the ships look like that too. You have these three rich, I think, you know, beautiful women fugitives that fleeing this exploding ship, and they land on this ugly mutant Mad Max planet. And so you get your hero, who's the only good-looking guy in the whole movie, with Molly Ringwald, who he doesn't want to get along with. I can't remember why she pops up. She's a scrapper, if I remember right. And so they're out to try and rescue these women, because I don't think they have them in the beginning of the movie. But yeah, there's like a battle inside of an industrial plant with giant spiders and oozing mutants, and Michael Ironside is kind of like the dime store version of the Borg Queen, and it's bonkers. Oh, Dynaboy's asking what the prop is I'm working on right now. We are very slowly, we being Felicia and I, Felicia's not here today, are very slowly working on Proton Packs from the, as inspired by the 1984 Ghostbusters movie. Dynaboy likes the axe from God of War. Thank you, Dynaboy. Yeah. and we're being apologetic to each other about being behind on watching videos and being behind on our builds. So am I. It's all good. As always, thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for giving me an outlet to be able to talk to you guys and be able to interact. And I would not have touched this project today if I wasn't doing a live stream. So I appreciate it. As always, it is fantastic to get a chance to talk to you guys and to hang out with you guys and to talk about bonkers 80s movies. Are there any other bonkers 80s movies I can think of off the top of my head that fits in the same vein as Big Trouble, Buckaroo Banzai, and Space Hunter? Not off the top of my head. There's some other really great 80s movies that are immediately coming to mind, like Enemy Mine and The Last Starfighter, but I would not call either one of those movies bonkers. Enemy Mine is actually really well done. Bonkers. Any other bonkers ones? I mean, there's like bad trash movies, you know, like The Adventure of the Four Crowns and Yor, the Hunter from the Future, that are still both, you know, cash grabs for the 3D cinema, because those were some of the ones that were early on the revitalization of the 80s 3D craze. But yeah, anyway, you know, there's Flash Gordon. That's really cool. I talked about Flash Gordon earlier, but there's the 80s Flash Gordon with the Queen soundtrack. That one also isn't really bonkers, but it definitely takes the pop art nature of the Flash Gordon, you know, serials and comic books, and tries to put them to film, where it is very brightly colored, it is very brightly lit, and you know, Max von Sydow as being the Merciless is, yeah, you know, if I was thinner, that's a cosplay I would do, because yeah, that's a fun character. Is he a good guy? Oh hell no, he's a villain. I like cosplaying as villains, but because I'm not a villain, so it's fun to cosplay as them. But yeah, no, that's not one I can pull off. Not one I could comfortably. No one cares. I could do it, right? But it's not one I would comfortably pull off. So I'm not going to bother. Yep. You know what's going to be great? Give me about 20 minutes after the stream, and I'll think of 2 or 3 more bonkers 80s movies that I just aren't coming to mind right now. So DJ Stumpy is saying, oh, there's one thing I miss about going to a VHS store is finding the B movies that are worth watching. And what I don't miss is VHS tapes getting chewed up. Agreed, DJ Stumpy, on both those things. One of the fun... You think... Boy, those of you who know me, you think I've got, decision making paralysis now. You should have seen young Odin in the video store. Would literally go to the video store just to browse. No intent of actually renting anything, right? Because didn't have the funds and didn't have anywhere else worth going. And I would read the credits in the box to see who was doing what and whatnot as a way of learning kind of who's behind what different movies. B movie or less direct-to-video releases in the 80s and the 90s were a special creature that doesn't exist now. Even the direct-to-streaming videos and movies are better quality than the direct-to-video videos of that era. And yeah, talking about trying to find the B movies that are worth watching, my favorite thing began to be to grab any random space-based B movie you never heard of, look at the VHS cover and go, where are the Millennium Falcon model parts? Because they're on here. They're always on here. And half the time they're real blatant. Oh, you turned it around and sprayed it silver. I guess it's not the Falcon anymore. But some of them are really creative in how they would kit bash those parts in order to make them look like something else. But yeah, that was a lot of fun to do because I knew the model parts. I built the models, and object recognition like that was something I was always really pretty good at. So that was a lot of fun. How do you want to look this up? I don't know. If you guys want to just Google B-movie video cassette covers, you might be able to find a few, and can I give you an example of one? No, not really. Not that I can remember because they're all pretty non-memorable. And there's some movies that were like A-list movies, like Saturn III, that should have been, a much better movie than it was. Was it a bad movie? No, actually it wasn't a bad movie. It just could have been a lot better. Saturn III is Farrah Fawcett Jr. and Harvey Keitel, I think. And someone else I'm forgetting. And it takes place, in a space station orbiting Saturn, hence Saturn III, with another robot that's very much, I'm not an alien knockoff robot that has a dude in a suit with an extra animatronic arm for a head. Yeah, and then the movie probably spends as much time showing Farrah Fawcett running around with almost nothing on as it does trying to have a plot. So it's not a good movie. Nothing against Farrah Fawcett, just not a good movie. But it's got great design. It's got good looking sets. Anyway, it's not bonkers. Live action Cowboy Bebop Netflix. Oh, glad to hear you're enjoying it. I haven't watched it yet. Coconut count. It's 80s. Aliens meme. Oh, Cocoon. Man, I read Coconut. Does Coconut count? It's like, which one's Coconut? Oh, Cocoon. Does Cocoon count as a bonkers alien movies? No, that one's not bonkers. So Cocoon is, post-police story Steve Guttenberg and Wilford Brimley and Don Amici and a bunch of really good golden years Hollywood actors. And what happens is you've got the three young scientists who find a sunken alien ship, and they bring three cocooned aliens back to an old folks' home. I can't remember why, but those are reasons. And so they end up throwing them in the pool. And you get the old guys that go swimming in the pool, and the life energy from these aliens rejuvenates the old guys, which, of course, goes bad when other people in the old folks' home find out, and everyone starts jumping in the pool, and now they're sapping all the life energy out of the aliens. This movie spawned at least one sequel, if not two. It was a feel-good movie. It was a good movie. Is it a great movie? No. It's not a great movie. But It's good. It's a good movie. It's well shot. It's well acted. It has a reasonable yet predictable plot. It has special effects by ILM. It is a good movie. Would I recommend Cocoon? Yeah. Would I recommend the sequels? If you really like Cocoon, sure. Cocoon 2. Cocoon 2, back to the pool. I wouldn't call that bonkers, though. No. What would be bonkers? Okay, you want to know the bonkers 80s movie? Ha! Thought of one! Got one. All right. So if you like Back to the Future, if you liked Big Trouble in Little China, if you liked Space Hunter Adventures of the Forbidden Zone, if you like Buckaroo Banzai, if you're able to chew through all those, what about another movie that came out? So there's a high profile movie that you've probably all heard of called Weird Science. This is a John Hughes film. It starred a very young Robert Downey Jr., Anthony Michael Hall, Kelly LeBrock, and Bill Paxton. And it's all about how these kids use a supercomputer in order to bring a girl to life. And at one point, she conjures up all the bad guys, literally from Mad Max Road Warrior, to come into this party to try to make them look better because they're trying to score high school points. That's Weird Science. Fun movie. Good movie. Very 80s and dated, and may not hold up to today's standards as far as how to treat women and how to relate to people. It's a John Hughes film. It probably falls pretty short on that. But at the same time, Hollywood's always made copycat movies. And so Weird Science comes out, and another movie comes out at the same time. Actually, two other movies come out at the same time. Another one's called Real Genius with Val Kilmer. That's another fantastic movie. Big fan of Real Genius. I can't remember if that's a product of its time that's not going to hold up socially very well now or not, but that's one where you have a freshman coming into like MIT or similar high-level school. Val Kilmer's the senior on his way out, couldn't care less about everything else, and the actual genius of the movie. And the teacher is using the kids' knowledge to try and make better equipment for the government to sell as weapons. And the end of the movie ends up with this B-2 bomber that's got this super laser the kids had built in college, and they've managed to hack the system and reprogram it to hit the teacher's house that they filled full of popcorn, set up like a giant Jiffy Pop. So the end of the movie, his house pops popcorn and explodes with popcorn. And there's this fantastic behind the scenes about how do you make a house that obviously can hold the pressure of popcorn expanding actually break apart. And they did it full scale. This wasn't a model. So, fun. Okay, so you got Real Genius, you've got Weird Science, bonkers, My Science Project. My Science Project, I think I saw that in one of the discount theaters in the 80s. My Science Project, and it was actually Kirk from the Dallas Makerspace wanted to make the alien gizmo from My Science Project that makes the movie work. Again, that's not Harvey Keitel. That's I'm forgetting who the teacher. No, it's Harvey Keitel, right? Is the teacher, the hippie teacher, and you got your three students. You got your male lead, who I can't remember. You've got the his assistant guy who was in like Short Circuit and a bunch of other films. I can't quite remember. He's whatever. Anyway, he's the slimy cool guy who's not, because it's an 80s movie and it's totally wrong. And then of course the girl, who at the moment I'm not remembering having a major part in the movie, which is probably a problem. The crux of the movie, how it works, My Science Project, you got this slick friend who finds this crashed piece of UFO that's about so big. It's about as big as the oxygen destroyer from Godzilla. It's got a plasma ball in the middle because obviously alien technology has a plasma ball. And he's a car guy, so they bring it back and hook it up to a battery, and it does some funky stuff. So this is great. So they're going to take it to school and show the science teacher and turn it in as a science project, so the hero jock guy doesn't fail science and can continue on with his life, I think. It's been years since I've seen this movie. So they hook it up with the science teacher's help to more power than just the car battery. And what the gizmo does is it creates a time vortex. So it's a time travel movie, but it's not, because your characters never leave where they are. What this thing does is it opens up kind of a wonky wormhole because they don't know how to control it, and it starts pulling in elements from the past and from the future to the high school. So the teacher hooks it up. The guys leave. When they come back that night, purple lightning's going off into the sky. They go into the hallway of the high school, and there's dinosaurs and cavemen running around in the hallway, and it's kind of jungle-like. And then they move to a different classroom, and it's World War II. And then they move to the gym, and it's a future war with lasers. And they're collecting all this stuff as they're trying to get back to the alien gizmo to turn it off. And they find the teacher, who's now wearing tassels and hairs. He's from the 60s and trippy, man. This is great. You guys gotta try this. And bonkers. 100% recommend my science project. Remember, it's a product of its time. It may not hold up to today's social standards for how to interact with people. I can almost probably guarantee it doesn't. So please be aware of that. I'm not trying to recommend it because it does that, but it's freaking bonkers because it's pulling in everything else from everywhere else into high school. And yeah, and of course, you know, it's 80s high school students. They're all in their mid-20s. Wasn't there a Wraith sequel? Oh, Wraith was great. Young Charlie Sheen. Yeah, that's another one of those alien car movies of Charlie Sheen. Trying to make props in the live-action Minecraft movie. Have I ever tried to make props in the live-action Minecraft movie? Is the live-action Minecraft movie out? No, I have not ever tried to make props from it because it's still current to me. Weird Science is also a show in the 90s. Yes, that was kind of fun. Charlie Sheen the Wraith. I remember seeing that in the theaters. There was a discount theater out in Roseville that I went to a lot in high school to see everything. It didn't matter. It was $1 theater. Who cares? Let's go see a movie. You know? Chud. Yeah. Oh, God, Chud. Oh, this is fun. You guys are going to get me going off on this. No, I don't know if there is a Wraith sequel, DJ Stumpy. I don't remember. Ghoulies was a cool movie, yes. And Critters. Critters was another one that I really enjoyed. Critters was an early New Line Cinema movie. Critters was the Kyoto Brothers, was the effects guys on that. Critters takes place in a rural farm. You have a ship that crashes. And I can't remember if the ship was being ran by the Critters, which they called Krites, or if the Critters overran the ship and caused it to crash. Critters are about so tall, they're puppets. They've got a whole bunch of teeth. They're fur balls. They roll in order to move around quickly, and they eat absolutely everything. And that's the movie. And then you have your two shape-shifting alien bounty hunters. It's convenient they're shape-shifting because they land on Earth and they look like aliens with tons of makeup, but they're kind of this amorphous green blob. And then they see pictures of people, so they go through this really cheesy special effects sequence. So now they look like the humans that they're going to be for the rest of the movie, so they don't have to do all the makeup. I believe the smart of the pair of those aliens bounty hunters keeps the same look throughout the whole movie. I think his sidekick changes from time to time because he won't pick anyone. And there's a point in time when the bounty hunter aliens get into a police car, and they're trying to figure out how to start this car so they can drive it around, because either they saw it drive or, you know, they're smarter than us. So obviously this is a vehicle that starts up and you can drive it around if you've never seen a car before. And so as they're fumbling around, they manage to fire off the shotgun that doesn't have a safety on and blow a hole in the roof. So 2 or 3 more times throughout the movie, in order to start the car, they fire off the gun, because obviously that's one of the things you got to do. Fun movie, had a bunch of sequels that degraded as time went on. Each sequel was worth less watching than the previous one. But Kyoto Brothers, did the effects for Critters. Or Cheeto? No, Kyoto. I'm saying that wrong. Kyoto Brothers are a music group. The Cheeto Brothers, the Chido or something like that. I'm remembering it wrong. I could never knew how to pronounce it because I never heard it said, and I'm really horrible at spelling, so I can't sight read words and pronounce them correctly. But anyway, those brothers, those guys, did other things you heard of. They did Large Marge for Pee-wee's Big Adventure. They did the stop animation dinosaur sequence for the 2000 SUX car ad that was in RoboCop. They did Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That was their baby. Those guys wrote, directed, and did Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Made all the suits for it, and a lot of those suits got repainted and reused for Ernest Scared Stupid, as well as some of the trolls from Troll movie. So Killer Clowns from Outer Space is another really fun, bonkers 80s movie. You get killed by popcorn, there you go. So Critters, Critters is a thumbs up from me. And Chud was a lot of fun. There was another movie called The Stuff. So Chud is cannibalistic human underground dwellers. Chud has nothing to do with The Stuff, other than it reminds me, because the Chud was mutant humans living in the sewers of New York, I think it was, that were causing a problem. Think Morlocks from the Time Machine. That was kind of the same type of thing, and so problems happened. And I don't remember Chud that well. I remember liking it. It was gory. It was fun. But I don't remember Chud. The Stuff was a dessert topping that was created that had, it was literally like marshmallow topping. But as you ate it, it took over you. It kind of like, not quite like the Blob, but kind of. Some people melted, and it's all this weird, the stuff was, beware the stuff. And it was just this white dessert topping. So that one was fun. Warning Signs was a early version of Resident Evil. I wouldn't be surprised if someone watched the movie called Warning Signs and that helped inspire Resident Evil. Warning Signs was a biowarfare manufacturing plant or other virus whatever, and of course they have an outbreak because somebody didn't clean his contact lenses, and so this pathogen, this virus that got exposed in a clean room, everyone got out in time. Everyone followed protocol, but the one guy who, when you see him, you'll recognize the actor, if you're old, didn't clean his contact lenses. They figured this out later. And that was a carrier that brought this thing outside that basically creates zombies, creates the infected, but they're all contained within the building. And for whatever reason, the heroes have to go in the building and deal with it, because if they didn't, you wouldn't have a movie. So Warning Signs is fun. But again, that one's not bonkers. Critters is what Raphael goes to see in the Ninja Turtles movie. Yes, just thought that'd be that random. Not a problem, DJ Stumpy. Critters is great. I saw that a couple times in the theater. What's the one of the Martian invaders, which was the short, not Mars Attacks, and not... Because there was a couple of different Mars invasion movies from the 80s. Mars Attacks is 90s with Tim Burton as the director. But the video cover and the poster for the Martian movie, because it looks a lot like Critters, the way it's shot. You have a bunch of short people that are playing the Martians with... really tall heads that are painted up like watermelons. I mean, they even say that in the making of that they were inspired by the texture pattern of watermelons for how to paint these heads. And they're four bickering Martians, they're bumbling Martians that the kids befriend. They're just trying to get the Martians to be able to go back home as they're being attacked by other things. That one's fun. That one's is it bonkers? Low key. And then there's the other Mars. Invasion from Mars, 80s remake of the 60s. That's how memorable it is. Tremors movies are great fun. That all ties in. I love all these other movies, and I love Tremors. Have I ever tried making props in the Minecraft game? Yes, we made a torch, and I made an enchanted diamond pickaxe that Shady has. Monster Squad was great. Jerry Can cosplay. Wolfman got nards. Yep. Monster Squad was late 80s, early 90s. It took all four of the classic Universal monsters. So you had Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula, all those guys. I'm not sure if Frankenstein was in it or not. But anyway, so Monster Squad had these monsters, and it was definitely Stan Winston's take on how to do these monsters. And if I remember right, Wolfman, who's got nards because the kids kick him, gets killed because roadkill. right? So he gets run over. That's how you kill the Wolfman. How do you kill the Wolfman? You hit him with a truck. Works for wolves. Shouldn't work for the Wolfman. And the creature from the Black Lagoon is really good in that movie. But that's all I remember. I remember the costumes. I remember the effects. So was the movie good? Maybe. The effects are fantastic. There's a lot of night shots. That's what I remember. Monster Squad is fun. So Ninja Turtles, bad movies, Vern. Something else popped in there. I know I've gone over time. Somebody pulled my string about 80s movies. I probably did it to myself. Who do you want to meet? The guy from Big Trouble in Little China. We're still on that. Yeah. Anyway, I had a thought. There's one other one. Oh, right. I just saw a video about this again yesterday. Now, this is more early 90s, or it's 89. But yet another alien bounty hunter movie. Dolph Lundgren and I think Ray Liotta. The movie in the States was called I Come in Peace. It had a different name abroad, which I don't remember. And I didn't know until I just saw this YouTube video about it. But Dolph Lundgren plays basically an alien. He's not a drug dealer. He's down here to collect drugs. The idea is the movie starts with drugs are a problem. Drugs are bad, okay? And so you got narcotic whatever in L.A. Dealing with narcotics problems, and then they come across somebody who's dead mysteriously in a weird, like, exploded way or whatever, because God, there's a whole nother bonkers alien movie, 80s movie, because of drugs. Well, an alien comes down, ODs humans on drugs that works on humans, and as the human is dying of this overdose, extracts the endorphins in the brain that is the drugs are eliciting, and that's the drug that the alien is trying to take back off planet, right? So he comes to Earth, ODs humans, extracts the milk of drugness out of their head, and so, the humans want to stop it, and there is a friendly alien bounty hunter who's humanoid enough to be able to not have to wear makeup, who is also trying to stop this guy. So you get the human cop and the alien cop as a buddy movie running around trying to stop Dolph, who's one of his best weapons. He's got this gauntlet that fires basically a killer CD. It's like an electromagnetically drawn, high-spinning razor disc, and they end up catching one with the speaker from a dance club that they're in. So they've got this speaker holding this thing because it's still spinning, and if you let it go, it becomes attracted to the electromagnetics in humans, I guess, and so it bounces off necks and slits everyone's throats because it looks good on film. So, yeah, that's the movie. Lots of action, and it's called I Come in Peace in the States because that's the only English thing the alien drug collecting alien talks and says. I come in peace as he kills you. Anyway, fun, bonkers. What was the other bonker one they came up with? And I'm all out of bubblegum. Yep, there you go. Yep, They Live is good. More John Carpenter. Roddy Piper trying to be an action hero. That was really good. Creature of Black Lagoon is really good, but the film hasn't aged well. No, it hasn't. Creature of Black Lagoon was great because it was shot, in the 50s and one of the first underwater movies. Yeah. Goodhope says, "Oh, I remember that flick. Right on. Yeah, I saw that one in the theater like twice. Dollar theater. And then I remember renting the video and forcing my friend, no, watch it. It's great. And they all look at me like, it's good trash. I Come in Peace is good trash." Liquid Sky, I think, was another one that was weird. And the same thing. It has to do with aliens. You never see overtake a woman, and she doesn't really know it, but same idea as I Come in Peace. The alien infected woman in Liquid Sky. then has sex with people, and as the other people orgasm, they turn into television static and disappear because the aliens are extracting all those endorphins to use as drugs wherever the heck they are, and the effects are literally 80s video effects. Yeah, and she starts running around talking about how she kills with her. Yeah. That's all I remember. It's probably horrible. I don't recommend. Liquid Sky's got a great video cover. Looks like a Duran Duran album. Yeah, and then there's Street Trash, where everyone melts. More drug movies. All right. Oh, Dark Angel. Okay. A common piece was called Dark Angel elsewhere. That's it. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Same type of thing. No, I come in peace. Yeah. That one was fun. Liquid Sky, Street Trash, maybe not. Repo Man, Emilio Estevez. Again, alien technology in the trunk of a car. A lot of fun. The Hitcher, horror movie. It's really bad to say The Hitcher's a lot of fun. It's an early Rutger Hauer movie. Rutger Hauer was the main replicant in Blade Runner, and he was the guy, the hero man in Lady Hawk. He did a lot of stuff in the 80s. So he was in The Hitcher, where he was the bad guy. That's a slasher film. Fun movie, considering they tie up somebody to the they tie her up in between the trailer and the tractor of a semi. At least that's off screen when it happens. So not fun for that, but as a movie. Yeah, Call the Conqueror. All right, you found one I haven't seen. I have not seen Call the Conqueror. Congratulations. Yeah, how about Alan Quartermain in the Lost City of Gold? All right, it's been a lot of fun, and I don't need to sit here and just recite all the horrible movies I saw from the 80s way too many times. Oh, God, what was that Golden Monkey show that was on TV where they tried to make a... it was like Tales of the Golden Monkey, I think is what it was called. It was... it had like 4 episodes or 5 episodes. It was going to be an Indiana Jones, Alan Quartermain knockoff with this adventure thing. And they suddenly realized they couldn't afford it. So, it got canceled. Yeah, there's Simon and Simon with the pink helicopter and the really bad orange robot. I appreciate everyone tuning in, listening to me rant and goofy and be goofy. Thank you all. I appreciate the company. Thank you for sticking through as I work on the Proton Pack. In 2 weeks, going to be in Rancho Cordova at the Anime Expo. There was a link, I think. I may have shared it last time, but anyway, if you're going to be in the Rancho Cordova area, it's free. It'll be a fun way to spend a Saturday. Thank you all very much for tuning in. 80s B movies, man. 80s B movies. Talk to you all later. Gotta go. If I don't go, I won't go. This is me trying to go. Oh, wow. Where's my thing for... there it is. All right. Good night. Thank you, Ace. Oh, I'm clicking the wrong thing. I clicked the right button at one end. There's the end. End.